The most impactful moments in American history podcast. Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com.
You never know who might be taking the quiz.
Hi, everyone. It's Candace Cameron Bure.
Hey, everyone. It's Phil Simms.
It's Dolores Catania.
Hey, everyone. I'm Kix Brooks.
It's Candace Bushnell.
I'm Rob Paulson.
I'm Ryan Serhant.
Hey, everyone. I'm Nicole Polizzi.
Hey, everybody. It's Kevin Nealon.
What's up, guys? It's Nia Sue, and it's time to take the quiz.
5 questions in less than 5 minutes every day. Listen and follow at thequiz.fox.
China's military has test-fired a long-range ballistic missile with a dummy warhead from a submarine into the Pacific, the first launch like it in 2 years. This was hours after the leaders of Australia and Fiji announced a mutual defense treaty. China's official news agency calls the launch part of routine training. As our nation begins its 251st year, military leaders are reflecting on history and looking ahead to the future.
During a recent event in New York, Marine Brigadier General Daniel Taylor said that one military fundamental is as ironclad now as it was in 1776.
We exist to fight and win our country's battles when called to do so.
General Taylor added that when it comes to the armed forces as a whole,
we are one team, one mission, and that is to protect the American people and guard our national interest.
Navy Admiral Carl Thomas noted that in the modern world, however, our allies are invaluable and that they
are essential to deterring aggression, maintaining stability, and ensuring a peaceful and prosperous future for all.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
4th of July celebrations over the weekend had fewer people going to the movies.
Minions and Monsters may have won the holiday box office, but it disappointed at the ticket window.
So you need monsters for your movie. I know the scariest monsters.
The Despicable Me prequel opened with just $36 million over the 4th of July holiday weekend, well below expectations and the lowest debut for the franchise, and it pulled in just $61 million for the 5-day opening. Toy Story 5 followed in second place with $31 million. Young Washington opened in third place with nearly $21 million, and Supergirl came in fourth with less than $10 million. A steep drop from its opening weekend. Carmen Roberts, Fox News.
World Cup Soccer, England holds on to beat Mexico 3-2 in Mexico City. I'm Chris Foster. This is Fox News.
When you build a home for the next chapter of your life, you're not just choosing floor plans, finishes, and paint colors. You're making a decision about where your life continues after all the years you've worked so hard. At Steiner Homes, we understand that because we're a family business that's been building custom homes in Northwest Indiana for over 30 years. And for us, this isn't just a business, it's a calling. Every Steiner home is built with intention. No shortcuts, no compromises. Just craftsmanship you can see and quality you can feel. There's a reason more empty nesters are choosing Indiana. Lower taxes mean your money goes further. Safer communities mean real peace of mind. It's a place where neighbors still wave, families flourish, and you can finally put down roots that feel right. From the very first sketch to the final walkthrough, we treat every home like it's our own family moving in. If you're ready to build a home and right-size your life in a smarter, safer place, start with people who truly care. Steiner Homes of Northwest Indiana. Love where you live. Learn more at steinerhomesltd.com.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your saving? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Text SHELTER to 989898.
Sean Thompson here. Recently, someone asked me, what is it that I love most about being on AM 560 The Answer? I didn't hesitate. I love the fact that AM 560 is a family. You, the listeners, our advertisers, and all of us who are on air make up one big family in a very bad place. We look out for each other because we share the same values. And so many of our advertisers are small and medium businesses. They're owners who work very hard, they play by the rules, they pay their taxes, they make their communities even stronger. If that describes you and you own or operate a business, then I want to invite you to consider working with AM 560 to market your business. If you want to reach AM 560 family members, whether through radio, live events, or digital marketing, then call Amy O'Toole. She's a wonderful girl. She's in charge of advertising around here. Call her at 847-472-8925. That's 847-472-8925. Find out how you can become part of the AM 560 family. Together, our family can truly help make America great again.
It's hard to deny the constant attack of negative emotions that flood us online. The fear, anxiety, worry, and confusion that come from the constant stream of news and social media can be overwhelming. There is a way to escape this never-ending cycle and find peace, hope, and joy in your daily life. Christianity.com, with a wide range of daily devotionals, biblical answers to life's toughest questions, and insightful Bible study articles from your favorite pastors and authors on current events and issues, Christianity.com provides a little heaven on earth. Go to Christianity.com now.
Larry Elder believes it was the right decision.
It was quite courageous for President Trump to start a war with Iran in the first place, given the absence of support by the American people and the absence of support by the international community. And why did he do it? Because it was the right thing to do. Because 7 previous presidents had kicked the can down the road.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Tony Patrick, CEO of Total Wall and a client of Signature Bank. We produce high-performance materials used in exterior insulating finish systems and other stucco applications. During a recent business transaction, I learned quickly that having the right banking partner matters. Signature Bank stepped in, took time to understand my business needs, and kept things moving. If you need a banking partner you can rely on, look for a team with real experience and a commitment to your success. For me, that's Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Sean Thompson here. Recently, someone asked me, what is it that I love most about being on AM 560 The Answer? I didn't hesitate. I love the fact that AM 560 is a family. You, the listeners, our advertisers, and all of us who are on air make up one big family in a very bad place. We look out for each other because we share the same values. And so many of our advertisers are small and medium businesses. They're owners who work very hard, they play by the rules, they pay their taxes, they make their communities even stronger. If that describes you and you own or operate a business, then I want to invite you to consider working with AM 560 to market your business. If you want to reach AM 560 family members, whether through radio, live events, or digital marketing, then call Amy O'Toole. She's a wonderful girl. She's in charge of advertising around here. Call her at 847-472-8925. That's 847-472-8925. Find out how you can become part of the AM 560 family. Together, our family can truly help make America great again.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore. Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneInc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's accessoneInc.com. Tech made personal locally.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Tony Patrick, CEO of Total Wall and a client of Signature Bank. We produce high-performance materials used in exterior insulating finish systems and other stucco applications. Every growing business needs a strong team behind it. Over the years, Signature Bank has been more than a financial partner. They've shared their knowledge, offered guidance, and connected us with trusted professionals who help strengthen our business. They're a valuable extension of our team and a true partner. That's why I value my relationship with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Sean Thompson here. Recently, someone asked me, what is it that I love most about being on AM 560 The Answer? I didn't hesitate. I love the fact that AM 560 is a family. You, the listeners, our advertisers, and all of us who are on air make up one big family in a very bad place. We look out for each other because we share the same values. And so many of our advertisers are small and medium businesses. They're owners who work very hard, they play by the rules, they pay their taxes, they make their communities even stronger. If that describes you and you own or operate a business, then I want to invite you to consider working with AM 560 to market your business. If you want to reach AM 560 family members, whether through radio, live events, or digital marketing, then call Amy O'Toole. She's a wonderful girl. She's in charge of advertising around here. Call her at 847-472-8925. That's 847-472-8925. Find out how you can become part of the AM 560 family. Together, our family can truly help make America great again.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
March 4th, 1865. The Civil War was nearing its end. The nation was exhausted, divided, and grieving. On that day, President Abraham Lincoln delivered his second inaugural address, just 700 words spoken in about 7 minutes. 41 days later, Lincoln would be assassinated. Yet the words he spoke that day still echo through history. In that brief address, Lincoln referenced God 14 times, spoke of prayer, and quoted scripture repeatedly. He reminded Americans that both sides of the conflict shared a common faith, saying both read the same Bible and pray to the same God, and each invokes his aid against the other. Lincoln understood that political division alone could not explain the nation's crisis. More than 160 years later, America still wrestles with division, truth, and our dependence on God. The question is whether we'll remember the wisdom Lincoln left behind.
This is Carol Platt-Liebel for townhall.com. Few issues have generated more controversy in America than whether biological males should be allowed to compete on girls' and women's school sports teams. Now, in a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court has ruled that states may protect biological females from having to compete against biological males without violating the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause or Title IX. It's important to understand what the court did and didn't decide. The ruling doesn't require states to adopt those protections. It simply says they're free to do so. That matters because the decision explicitly affirms a basic truth. Men and women are physically different. recognizing that reality isn't discrimination. It's a legitimate basis for protecting fairness in girls' and women's sports. And it leaves those policy decisions where they belong, with the people and their elected representatives.
Today, millions of people all across America are building a life in recovery from addiction and mental illness, helping themselves
and helping each other, with friends, family, and community lending their strength and support.
Join the Voices for Recovery.
Together, we are stronger.
For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral for mental and substance use disorders, for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today will bring partly sunny skies, pleasant conditions, and lower humidity with a high of 80. Tonight will be clear with a low of 63. Tomorrow is expected to be mostly sunny with a high of 86. Looking ahead to Wednesday, we can anticipate mostly sunny skies and a high of 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering smart security systems to homes and businesses. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Hope everyone had a joyous 7-4-250, and all digits are present and accounted for. What did you think of the festivities, storm marred as they were? 312-642-5600, alphawealthgroup.com. Call and text line. Those festivities at 250 in D.C., as well as previous day at Mount Rushmore. That was actually the place where Trump gave more fulsome remarks on the occasion than after the storms, waiting them out, and then coming on stage to say, of course, the show must go on.
And I want to thank everybody because they did the right thing. They saw lightning, and I said, there's no way if we have to speak in front of one person at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to be here. There's no way we can be deterred. And they estimated they had 375,000 people before everybody had to leave. And they now have 150,000 people. It's the craziest thing anyone's ever seen. At least. And I want to just thank you, and I feel so badly about some people. They left and they couldn't get back. But you're very special people, and we have a very special country. Thank you very much.
Indeed, some of those people that were evacuated, as the president said, lightning, so we got to clear the mall and the area, take shelter. And a bunch of people took shelter in the USDA building, Department of Ag, and sort of spontaneously broke out into a rendition of the Star Spangled Banner, which was kind of cool. As I perused online, whether you perused online or experienced it in person, that was pretty neat. The drone sky art in North Richland Hills, Texas was super cool. That Cessna flight over Ohio that took the path to spell out Happy 250th with the outline of of America, the United States of America, as the border. The images that were projected on the Sphere in Las Vegas. There was a lot of cool celebrations. But amid all the celebrations, of course, President Trump certainly has something on his mind with an eye towards the midterms and beyond in terms of the threats the country faces, the internal threats. Earlier in the week, we sort of began addressing this, and it carried over into his considered and scripted remarks, particularly at Mount Rushmore, where, as I said, I thought he gave an excellent speech for the occasion. But in terms of what his particular concerns are, well, even when the show resumed on 7/4/250, he still was thinking about the rise of the communists in this country, those neo-Bolsheviks.
And all these talks from the communists, they haven't got a chance. Not even a chance. We don't want communists in our country.
I mean, he was a little bit more glib on July 4th than he was during his time at Mount Rushmore, which was also well-crafted in the sense that there was an opportunity for the president to express gratitude for the presidents memorialized on Mount Rushmore, which he did. It was an interesting contrast to a speech we'll get to in a little bit, contrasting the gratitude and the historical perspective of President Trump to the ingratitude, the uncharitable remarks of, say, Zoran Mamdani, the commie mayor of New York City, these communist ingrates and these identitarian simpletons, of course, emphasize from their perspective the faults of America on 7/4/250, just as they do every day. It's just not bad enough for them to leave, though, as you'll take notice of. But earlier in the week, Trump was talking about the threat that's posed.
Because it's not socialism, it's really communism. They use the word social democrat because it sounds so nice, but it's really communism you're talking about. I think it's the biggest threat to our nation there is, maybe since our founding. That includes World War I, World War II, September 11th. It includes the Pearl Harbor attack. I think this is the biggest threat to our nation. People will smile when I say that, but the smart people are going to say, you know, he's probably right. It's basically introducing communism into the United States of America. There's never been anything so dangerous.
And that's a thread he picked up on and reiterated in his remarks at Mount Rushmore.
Yet as we approach this magnificent anniversary, we see our American identity under a renewed attack. A generation after we fought and won the Cold War against the menace of communism, there is now a resurgence of the communist menace in our land, including from newcomers to our country who embrace ideas totally opposed to our way of life and our great success. These are not mere political disagreements like differences over taxes or regulations. Communism is a mortal threat to American liberty. It is the greatest threat to our country, including World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, or even 9/11. We're not going to let this happen to us. Believe me, we're not letting it happen. Because communism is the enemy of free people everywhere in the world. Never works. It's the enemy of the Constitution. Above all, it's the enemy of July 4th, 1776. It is the enemy indeed. Even while the radicals and extremists attack our incredible history at every turn, they are silent on the miserable history of communism itself because it never worked. Thousands of years, if you look at it, under different names, under somewhat different ideologies and systems, that system has led to more death and destruction than any system ever tried. It killed 100 million people just in the last century alone. Communism is the exact opposite of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's death, tyranny, and the pursuit of evil. But we will not let them win. They have no chance against us.
Well, yeah, let's certainly hope so. It's a bit distressing as a Gen Xer myself, coming of age during the Cold War and the end of it, and the defeat of the evil empire, that, 3 decades later, the offspring of my generation are back at it. Yeah. I guess that's what Reagan was referencing when he often made mention that freedom requires eternal vigilance. Each generation the battle has to be taken up again, and so this is the case. But just accentuating the positive a little bit more before we go down this path of having to deal with the neo-Bolsheviks and their rallying point over the weekend, which was not the president's speech or anything celebratory about America, but, as I said, Mamdani's very petulant, ungrateful, and banal speech. I mean, that's one of the things about Mamdani, much like Obama. There's a lot of hype, but when you actually listen to him speechify, it is positively pedestrian vanilla. But there is an undercurrent there that needs to be addressed because it's also dangerous. But again, accentuating the positive, Fox News Channel had some cool things going on over the weekend, including Bret Baier and then Brian Kilmeade talking to 103-year-old World War II vet, Corporal Wilbur Jack Myers, who had this to say to Bret Baier when talking about his service and his reflections on America 250.
Europe, where, sir? The tank destroyer gunner in France, and Holland, the Powder de Bogue, and Germany.
How about that? Can I ask you, sir, how old you are?
I'm only 103.
You're only 103. You're 103 young.
How about that?
What's the secret? What's the secret?
That? Well, I was one of 13 children, born number 6. There were 7 girls and 6 boys, and I had the best parents I could have, and they taught me how to live.
That's awesome. What about when you say to people, America 250, what it means to you today? What it means to you?
Oh, it means that we've just come through so many toughs, like civil wars and things like that, to correct things the way we wanted it. We got it. We got it. And today I'm just so happy with this meeting because all the people here are so glad to be free and to be, and to love America. I love that. That's what we fought for.
The reason we have that freedom is because of people like you, sir.
That's what we fought for. People celebrating their freedom, loving this country. And you sense the enthusiasm that Corporal Wilbur Jack Myers still has for this country. And he's also got a set of working pipes, too, because he played out one segment of this special on Fox News Channel with his rendition of God Bless America.
Bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountain to the prairie to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Yeah, not bad for 103, huh? And this is why we're doing these Unsung Americans series, which we'll have another installment at the top of the 6 o'clock hour. You can email me stories like, Corporal Wilbur Jack Myers would have been a great one, but, we're trying to keep it in the Chicago DMA, the nexus to this show. Dan at danprof.com. Stories of unsung Americans who lived lives that made America great, and I'll have some more at the top of the 6 o'clock hour. And we'll tackle some of what Mamdani and other revolutionary ne'er-do-wells had to say on this past weekend as well. It's at 5:38. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
69 degrees, much less humid, and a calm start to the week in the QC Kinetics newsroom. 4th of July weekend did bring torrential rains that flooded roads and basements, leaving much to clean up. Sunday in Bartlett, neighbors were beginning the process of trying to figure out what could be saved and salvaged. Even the Bishop Ford Freeway was shut down for hours due to flooding, crews struggling to clear the roadway on Sunday. This morning, a man is charged in an officer-involved shooting on Chicago's South Side. Authorities say officers were conducting a traffic stop Friday in the 2000 block of East 79th when Malik Wrightsell fled the scene. Retiring police superintendent Larry Snelling.
Not truly understanding or knowing or caring about the consequences of what happens to get 7 people shot at an incident like that, is reprehensible. And I think we ought to hold people that put these events on accountable.
As officers tried to take the suspect into custody in the 7900 block of South Chapel Avenue, a struggle ensued. Wrightsell shot one officer in the vest. The officer did return fire, hitting Wrightsell. During the struggle, a second officer was shot, this time in the arm. Both officers were taken to the hospital in good condition.
These 2 officers exhibited a great deal of bravery, courage, and strength. I had the chance to meet with both of the families as well as one of the officers. They are in good spirits.
The suspect was placed into custody and charged with attempted murder, aggravated battery to a peace officer, and other charges. 7 are recovering after a shooting broke out on Chicago's west side. Police say hundreds gathered early yesterday in the 3800 block of West Maypole, drinking and disrupting the neighborhood when gunfire rang out.
Not truly understanding or knowing or caring about the consequences of what happens to get 7 people shot at an incident like that, is reprehensible. And I think we ought to hold people that put these events on accountable.
Alderman Jason Irvin of the 28th Ward, 2 underage teens and 4 others were sent to the hospital with gunshot wounds. 2 early morning shootings in Gary, Indiana left a 10-year-old boy dead and several others injured. According to Gary police, they responded to 2 separate shooting scenes around 1 a.m. NATO leaders meet in Turkey this week for a summit, kicking off Tuesday in Ankara, where European leaders are bracing for a future in which the U.S. does play a smaller role in security and defense. President Trump welcomes the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ into the Oval Office today, marking the launch of new investment accounts for kids. Illinois State Police continue investigating a deadly crash on I-88 in DuPage County. Authorities say the accident happened Saturday in the westbound lanes near Winfield Road. A man is facing DUI charges after a head-on crash killed a woman and critically injured her son in the western suburbs Saturday night. Geneva police are investigating. 3 fires connected to improper disposal of fireworks occurred in Racine, Wisconsin, following the 4th of July. And the investigation continues into the deaths of 3 children who died when the boat they were on capsized during a sudden and severe storm that powered through Lake Geneva over the 4th of July holiday weekend. Jay Goodhue and the American Legion are leading recovery efforts in Lake Geneva.
It's having a network of different nonprofit organizations and businesses that are saying, hey, we're here, we're open, what do you need? We got you.
At the time of that sudden storm, a recreational motorboat with 10 on board, including 6 adults and 4 kids, was attempting to navigate Geneva Lake to safety. Rescuers were able to save all of the adults and 1 child after an intensive search. Officials say the missing children were found and recovered from the lake. Chicago sports. Cubs salvaged their 3-game home series against the Cardinals following a 6-4 win. White Sox split their 4-game series with the Guardians and remain in first place following a 7-6 win from Cleveland. Teal, Montgomery, and Peters all went deep. Another pair of nations heading to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Norway over Brazil, England over Eritrea and Mexico. Spain and Portugal duel today, along with the U.S. and Belgium. The news service of Bank of America, sponsor of the FIFA World Cup 2026, dedicated to offering solutions to help businesses meet their goals locally and globally. More at bankofamerica.com/gamechangers. Chicago's Morning Answer continues in 2 minutes after we check the AccuWeather forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Mike Gallagher wants just a couple of things.
I've said this a million times. For me, it's twofold. Make sure they can't produce a nuke, and that's mostly to protect Israel. And number two, open the doggone Strait of Hormuz, get the oil flowing, and get prices down in America. That's it for me.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your saving? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Text SHELTER to 989898.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at Progressive.com.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today, expect partly sunny skies, pleasant conditions, and lower humidity with a high of 80. Tonight will be clear with a low of 63. Tomorrow will bring mostly sunny skies and a high of 86. Wednesday is expected to be mostly sunny with a high of 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Craig Bolanos, powered by VestGen Wealth Partners, Sunday morning at 10 on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Zohran Mamdani, the commie mayor of New York, neo-commie, Islamist, gave a speech on the occasion of America's 250 because he's become the face of this neo-Bolshevik revolutionary party that people used to call the Democrat Party. And boy, are those who are not exactly aligned running scared. Governors from Maryland and Pennsylvania, Wes Moore, Josh Shapiro, boy, are they tiptoeing around the tulips. They're worried. You know how you know somebody's worried? When you ask them a substantive question and you get a procedural answer? Like, I'll give you, before we get to the speech, just give you an example of what I'm talking about. This was Shapiro responding to recitation of the musings of Mamdani acolyte Daria Lisa, one of his brood that was successful in New York the other week and is on her way to Congress. Dana Bash reading the receipts, Josh Shapiro offering.
Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier, she was a PhD candidate at Columbia and organizer. She called for the abolition of prisons, open borders, ended deportations, even people convicted of violent crimes. She attended a pro-Palestinian rally on October 8th, 2023, a rally that reportedly featured some real anti-Semitic rhetoric justifying the attack. How do you feel as a Democrat about someone with those views being in the United States Congress?
Look, her district voted for her.
Yes, we understand the process.
But I have profound differences from that particular candidate, you know, based on the citations that you read there. And she's not someone, you know, who seemingly I would agree with on many things or that we share similar values. She ran on the Democratic ticket, I guess, as a socialist. Her voters in that district determined that she was the one they wanted representing her.
We get how elections work.
What does that tell you about your party?
I think what our party has to go through that will be very healthy and something we've not really done since the 1992 election cycle is to have a battle over what we believe in.
Yeah. Well, Josh Shapiro is quaking in his boots because he's not going to win that battle. And the approach that he and others who are not exactly comfortable with what's going on inside their party are taking will ensure that they don't win whatever battle they think is going to be waged, a debate within the party to reestablish what we believe. They're going to roll over appeasers like Shapiro. Of course they will. Wes Moore on Fox News Sunday with Shannon Bream, the governor of Maryland, even worse. He's also less skilled.
Some within your party who are saying things like we should be ashamed of America. The government should seize the means of production that we maybe in some way deserved 9/11. What do you do with those factions of your party?
Well, first I say, you know, what the representative was saying is powerful and correct in the idea that making sure that we have an economy that works for everybody is something that is powerful. A lot of the stuff that I'm hearing about the labels and all this kind of stuff, I'm going to be very honest with you, it's a very Washington game. Because for people inside of communities that I'm in every single day, people just want candidates that are actually working and getting things done.
Yeah. It's just a label game. Well, you can put whatever label you want on it, address the substantive positions that have been taken and are being taken. Have been and are being taken. Like now, real time. The policy agenda. I mean, you can go to the DSA website. Have you not seen it? Is that just labeling? Is that just an inside the beltway kind of game that people don't really care about? Well, they're going to care about it when these people get in power and they start pursuing policies consistent with what they said they would do. It's happening in New York already. $2.2 billion that Mamdani and his gal pal, C. Weaver, have set up to seize private property from landlords, to relieve them of the responsibility of managing their private property. It's very generous, as communists always are. So I'm saying Wes Moore, I mean, I think he's trying to do an Obama impersonation. I think he just wants to be the face guy for the radical left. And, you know, if that advances his political fortunes, great. Josh Shapiro, I think, is betwixt and between, but he's caved before. He'll cave again. These are appeasers. Josh Shapiro caved to the teachers union. He couldn't even stand up for school choice in Pennsylvania. You think he's going to stand up to where the zeitgeist currently exists in his party? Who will? The only one talking like an adult in that party and calling things by their proper names, you can say in Beltway labeling all you want, terming things as they actually are, reflective of reality, is John Fetterman. And right now he's contemplating the sort of threshold that needs to be reached for him to consider jumping from his party altogether. But Fetterman's not going to be quite enough, particularly when so many others are even enthusiastic, not just sort of appeasing and tolerating with an eye towards let's just get past the midterms and we'll figure it out once we take power, which is what they're trying to do. Tamp down any sort of dissent, give procedural answers to substantive questions, as you heard from both of those spinmeisters, both of those governor spinmeisters. Let's see if we can just get through this on power, and then we'll have the ability to, you know, settle them down. You won't. You won't. But okay, that's the approach, just documenting it. So now back to Mamdani and what he had to say on the occasion of 250. What a bizarre visual he presented, too. He's sitting at the Washington desk in Gracie Mansion that looks like it's turned the wrong way. All the drawers are on the outside. You can see on camera. I don't know. Maybe that's how Washington's desk was constructed, but it looked bizarre. And then a handful of alleged new Americans shuffle out with little American flags, all looking dour. Not happy to be here. New citizens, not excited. And there's even one honky in the background. You know, it's nice to have the token honky. Everybody should have one in the shot. So they just stand there holding their little flags while he politely, in couched quotidian language, rails against America.
There is a term so often used to describe our nation and those who have shaped it: American exceptionalism. American exceptionalism, the conventional wisdom tells us, makes our freedom a little more free, is how we dug the Erie Canal and irrigated the West, is why children in faraway lands grow up dreaming of one day moving here. And yet the irony is that the story of America has so often been written by those who were told by others with power and influence and wealth that they were anything but exceptional. For generation after generation, we have been told that when the world has sent its people to our shores, it has not sent its best. It sent Puritans and Sikhs and Quakers and Muslims and Jewish people who were banished for praying the wrong way, worshiping the wrong gods, angering the wrong people. It sent peasants and serfs from slums and shtetls who were treated as less because they hardly owned clothes, let alone land. It sent immigrants from whom power was something someone else had. We are told that America is exceptional because we are richer, stronger, more powerful than everyone else. The truth, my friends, is that America is exceptional because here, nothing is fixed into place. The frontier may be closed, we may have walked on the moon, but the work of fulfilling the values first enshrined in the Declaration of Independence, that work endures, and it belongs to us all.
Yeah, that's that sort of appeal to the Declaration is what I'm talking about in terms of the platitudinous nature of it and the disingenuous platitudinous nature of it to boot. The tell is the characterization. We're told America is exceptional because it's richer and powerful. That's not the promise. That's not the value prop of America. Nobody says that. No. A land of opportunity and prosperity because it's free. Yes. That's a difference. This is all couched in neo-Marxist rap. Robert Spencer, who runs Jihad Watch, had a good riff on this. And it's threaded throughout his unremarkable remarks. Spencer writes, America in Mamdani's view is a sad place where heartless, racist, xenophobic plutocrats rule the roost and oppress the rest of us to the degree that you wonder why anyone from elsewhere would want to immigrate in the first place. Mamdani does hold out some hope in the end, saying that the foes of these cruel tyrants can throw off their yoke and remake the unhappy land in their own image. And that, of course, is just what Mamdani has set out to do. And their own image has no relation to the founding documents they invoke conveniently.
America, in their view, is an arena of supremacy, where only a select few are allowed freedom, where not all are created equal. America, if you ask them, becomes less the more people it welcomes. America, they will tell you, belongs only to those with the right accent or the right shade of skin. The rest of us, they insist, should be grateful for merely being allowed to visit. How small they are, how weak, how unoriginal. At every moment in our past, those who led through exclusion and isolation have tried to win power and enrich themselves by turning us against one another. Division is the oldest trick in politics and the cheapest. But time and again,
and
including
he's the one
250 years ago, those forces of division have been vanquished by the forces of progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, more just identitarian claptrap, but that's what you're going to get. The division, the they think this, and they've always done that. Who's the they? Boogeyman politics, just classic boogeyman politics. I'll tell you what, though, it wowed Representative Ro Khanna, the plutocrat from California who wants to be president.
I'm glad he did it. It's showing that the same country that produced Donald Trump produced Zohran Mamdani. And Zohran, as you know, is a student of history. So it was significant he did that with George Washington's desk, with New York being the first capital of this country. People often don't remember that. Zohran knows that. And he was giving a powerful message of this linking back to our founding ideals, that the Declaration says that we have equality for every person and that this is a nation really that's based on that creed and has welcomed immigrants. And he's claiming that vision as true patriotism and inspiring. And it's going to resonate across the country.
Flimflammery, as you've come to expect from Ro Khanna and all of these professional prevaricators. Speaking of which, David Axelrod, professional liar, these eloquent words, talking about Mamdani's speech, these eloquent words speak to me as the grateful son of a refugee who arrived here with his family carrying little more than their hopes and dreams of freedom and a better life. Right. All they want is a chance. All we are saying is give us a chance. That's not all they're saying. It's not even what they're saying. A good riff on this. You have to get the perspective of the approach here. And one trend you see with these neo-Bolsheviks is that when privileged foreign elites like Mamdani and his family come to America, they adopt the rhetoric and posture of domestic identitarian politics, specifically black victimhood politics, post-civil rights era black victimhood politics as practiced by our indigenous race hustlers. Even though they share none of the actual experiences, they channel it because it's a power grab. That's the gambit. But they're displacing black politicians and leaders atop this hierarchy. Have you noticed? The Islamists? All while wearing sort of they're sort of doing it in blackface, if you will, rhetorically. If you could tolerate that metaphor. Post-colonialism, America the colonizer, that doesn't have much domestic resonance. You have to translate that into the victimhood parlance that has become accepted within wide swaths of the American public. And that's what they do. That's what Mamdani is doing. That's what a honky like Kate Wilson does in Seattle. That's what Mamdani's backed congressional candidates did. That's what the Ethiopian-born congressional candidate in Colorado is doing. What Jacob Fry does, the mayor of Minneapolis. So many examples of this. Tina and Joliet.
Hi, Dan. Hey, I am so frustrated with the Democratic Party. I was a Democrat almost my entire life till I think Jeannie Ives may have been the first Republican I ever voted for.
What?
And,
what about 2010? What about me in 2010?
Oh, sorry, I was asleep at the wheel back then.
Oh, all right.
So I was on X the day after the election in New York, and there was a host of Jews lamenting back and forth about how lost they are, that they feel like, they're on an island. They have no political party to participate in anymore. They're lost. And I got into it with them saying, you have to be kidding me. You have an Islamo-Nazi on one side, and you have a party that has embraced you, defended you, and supported you through the last 6 years of anti-Israel, anti-Jew attacks and rhetoric, and increasing power from these Marxists who hate you. And you're lost. You don't know where to go with your vote at this point. I don't know what more else has to happen. I know I've said it a million times. I'm so disgusted with the American voter. And I keep trying to tell people Mamdani won because only 7% of voters, or his three communist candidates won because 7% of voters showed up. And if we're going to make it that easy for them to waltz into office and ruin everything, shame on us. But my God, people, wake up. He's dangerous. He scares the hell out of me. He scares me in a way, I always thought AOC was bad. This guy is 1,000 times worse.
Well, yeah, he's more skilled. Thanks for the call, Tina. That's the problem. So is Daria Lisa, the AOC mini-me, but more talented. She's recently won praise from David Duke. And it's appropriate. They share an opposition to interracial dating. And that's what David Duke was congratulating Daria Lisa Chevalier on. He also congratulated Ilhan Omar and Zohran Mamdani for their anti-Semitism. He didn't put it quite in those terms, but that's what he did. So there you go. David Duke, Zohran Mamdani, Daria Lisa, AOC, they're all in the same boat. And that boat needs to be sent out to sea to a distant land. Coming up at 6:06, Unsung Americans, our latest segment. It's now 6 o'clock on AM 560 WIND.
Team USA versus Belgium at the World Cup. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News, and there's controversy ahead of the match 13 hours from now in Seattle. Leading American scorer Flo Balogun has his one-game suspension for stepping on an opponent's ankle reversed after a phone call from President Trump. Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House.
A source confirms to Fox that President Trump called FIFA President Gianni Infantino asking him to review the red card suspension of American forward Flo Balogun. That red card against Bosnia and Herzegovina makes Balogun ineligible to play against Belgium, but FIFA announced the American star is eligible, suspending the one-game ban into a one-year probationary period. President Trump praised the decision on social media, writing, "Thank you, FIFA, for doing what was right and reversing a great injustice."
And the Athletic website reports the Belgians are being granted the right to appeal the reversal, and both teams have the next hour to submit their case as to why Balogun should or shouldn't be allowed to play. Charlie Kirk's widow and accused killer are scheduled to be in the same room today for the start of a 5-day hearing about evidence.
Ahead of today's preliminary hearing in Utah County for Tyler Robinson, Erica Kirk and media outlets argued for cameras to be allowed in the courtroom, and Judge Tony Graff is allowing video of the proceedings. Prosecutors have said they plan to introduce forensic and video evidence, witness statements, autopsy findings, and alleged messages Robinson wrote his romantic partner. Kirk was killed last September at Utah Valley University. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Police in New York City are looking to identify and catch a suspect in a shooting at a 4th of July cookout at an apartment building courtyard near the Coney Island Boardwalk in Brooklyn Saturday night.
At least 8 people, including 4 children, were shot. A 21-year-old is in critical condition. The youngest victims are 6, 7, 12, and 14 years old. They are expected to survive. Police are investigating whether the shooting was gang retaliation.
Fox's Marianne Rafferty. Mourners have flooded into Iran's capital, Tehran, for a funeral procession for the late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. America's listening to Fox News.
6:02. And this morning, we have 69 degrees, much less humid for now in the QC Kinetics newsroom. A man is charged in an officer-involved shooting on Chicago's South Side. Officers were conducting a legal traffic stop Friday in the 2000 block of East 79th when Malik Wrightsell fled the scene. Police Superintendent Larry Snelling.
The officers gave a brief chase, caught up to this individual, and a struggle ensued. During this struggle, the individual reached into a shoulder bag, removed a handgun, and fired a round, striking one of our officers.
The officer returned fire, hitting Wrightsell, and during the struggle, a second officer was shot in the arm. Both are hospitalized in good condition. The suspect placed into custody, charged with attempted murder, aggravated battery to a peace officer, and other charges. 7 are recovering after a shooting on the west side. Hundreds began gathering outside a residential neighborhood yesterday in the 3800 block of West Maple, drinking and disrupting when gunfire rang out. 28th Ward Alderman Jason Irvin.
Not truly understanding or knowing or caring about the consequences of what happens. To get 7 people shot at an incident like that, is reprehensible. And I think we ought to hold people that put these events on accountable.
2 underage teens and 4 other people were sent to the hospital. An investigation into the deaths of 3 children who died when the boat they were on capsized during a sudden and severe storm that powered through Lake Geneva over the 4th of July holiday weekend continues. At the time of that storm, there were 10 on that board on Geneva Lake. Rescuers were able to save all of the adults and 1 child after an intensive search. The missing children were found and recovered from the lake. Illinois State Police are investigating a deadly officer-involved shooting July 4th in Ottawa. On Saturday, LaSalle County deputies attempted to stop a vehicle known to belong to a person with an active arrest warrant. The driver then fled to a nearby driveway. Driver Jacob Williamson got out of that vehicle with a firearm and fired at deputies. Deputies returned fire, hitting Williamson, who was pronounced dead at the scene. Cubs salvaged their 3-game home series with the Cardinals following a 6-4 win. No fog involved in that one. And the White Sox split their 4-game set with the Guardians and stay in first place with a 7-6 win in Cleveland. The news, a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business. It's a calling. Family-owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. SteinerHomesLTD.com. Steiner Homes. Love where you live. A check of the roads in 2 minutes on AM 560.
Alex Marla explains the president's strategy.
He was never a regime change guy. He was never a boots-on-the-ground guy. He was always a bomb the bad guys quickly and leave guy and try to broker new deals so that new countries can come into the fold economically on a global scale. This is it. I have to say this every show, and I will continue to say it every show until the message becomes crystal to everyone.
The Alex Marla Show. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal. But if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneinc.com. rated top 5% in customer satisfaction, and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's AccessOneInc.com. Tech made personal locally.
Our founders believed that freedom wasn't just a word, it was a way of life. The freedom to move forward, the freedom to pursue what matters most, the freedom to live fully. But pain has a way of taking those freedoms away. That's why Relief Factor exists and why I endorse it. I've seen how many in this audience have regained their freedom and they're back to living life on their own terms. Relief Factor, it's 100% drug-free. It's a research-based supplement designed to help support a healthy inflammatory response, addressing pain at its source, not just covering it up. Over 1 million Americans have found relief and reclaimed parts of their life they thought were behind them. So this year, as we celebrate 250 years of freedom, ask yourself a simple question. Are you living with the freedom you deserve? Relief Factor. They give you the opportunity to live pain-free and to get back to the life you love. To commemorate our country's birth, they are offering a special patriotic price, just $17.76. So you can celebrate your freedom from pain. Your $17.76 3-week quick start is ready for you right now. ReliefFactor.com, 800-4-RELIEF. 800, the number 4, RELIEF.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
6:09. Check of the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We're watching the rails this morning. Metra Southwest service. Big delays, 30 to 35 minutes, and growing inbound on the Southwest service because of problems inbound right at Orland Park. We're also following delays in Kane County this morning. In Hampshire, northbound US 20, right at Big Timber Road, report of an accident. Bishop Ford struggling this morning with remaining flooding from the weekend rain outbound between 130th and Sibley, and delays on the Kennedy inbound. It's on the actually outbound between I-90 and the big airport this morning. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. But first, check of your morning forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today, expect partly sunny skies, pleasant conditions, and lower humidity with a high of 80. Tonight will be clear with a low of 63. Tomorrow will bring mostly sunny skies and a high of 86. Wednesday is expected to be mostly sunny with a high of 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
AM 560 presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Ordinary American.
Mr. Ordinary American.
You never made headlines, you never sought fame, but your story helped build this country.
I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Yeah, our latest installment of it's basically unsung Americans. I mean, Mr. and Mrs. or Miss Ordinary Americans, so sexist. People who were unsung or have been unsung in their lives, but whose lives are good examples of what makes America great. And interestingly, what makes America great was the topic of Dave Barry's semi-quincentennial essay, What Makes America Great, trying to get to the bottom of it. Dave Barry, noted humorist, one of the best. He's almost 80 now, still writing. It's great. Really, really good. One of my favorites. And he answers the what makes America great question much in much the vein of this segment. And I'll get to it, but this is also sort of an intersection of animal stories because he gets sidetracked, as he is wont to do, by a story of landscapers cutting down, pruning some trees on his property. And they cut out a portion of a tree, for hurricane season upcoming. He's down in the Keys. And a portion of the tree they cut down has a hole in it. And he hears, and so it's sitting on the ground, whatever, he hears some chirping. And he looks in and he tries to figure out what's going on, and it sounded like birds, and there were birds in there. So he doesn't know what to do with it, how to get it out. He and his wife trying to figure it out. So they call a bird rescue place. And he talks to some lady. This is about an hour from his house or so. Says what he's got. And so she says, okay, bring the log. I'll meet you in this Walmart parking lot in Florida City. And I'll take the log, and I know who I can get this to deal with the baby birds that are lodged in this log, since Mom doesn't know where to find them because the home is gone. So she's like, I can't do it right now because I'm feeding baby raccoons. Okay. So anyway, they set a time to meet, and Dave Barry goes over there and hands off the baby birds to her, and ultimately they stay in communication. She gets the birds to a bird rescue place, and all's well that ends well. And the run up, because the what makes America great, according to Dave Barry, includes a reference to this, so I want to make sure you understood the reference. What I would have written, writes Dave Barry, if I hadn't been distracted by the story I'm just telling you, is in brief this: what makes America great, prepare for a searing insight, is Americans. I don't mean American politicians. I mean everyday, hardworking, generous, friendly, decent Americans who I believe greatly outnumber the idiots. I mean the people who hold the door for you and say thank you when you hold the door for them, and buy Girl Scout cookies even though they already have some at home, and never butt in line, and will lend you their jumper cables, and will take the trouble to lower a log gently to the ground instead of dropping it because there might be critters inside, and will take the time out from bottle feeding a dozen baby raccoons to schlep 50 miles in the rain so they can take custody of 3 baby woodpeckers, and all the other millions of small but good things that millions of Americans do every day. Which is not to say we can't be better, but I sincerely believe, and I'm a professionally cynical old guy of 79, that we're pretty good. So happy birthday to us. That was Dave Barry. So now to the local stories. Let's start with a contribution from Will from Skokie, who's a semi-regular caller to this program. He sent this email about Miss Pinta. This is 1960s Southwest Side, Chicago. I went to Catholic school located in the predominantly South Side Irish neighborhood in Chicago. When I was in third grade, I was in third grade when I met a teacher new to the school and just out of college. Her name was Miss Pinta, and she was cute. She was my first crush. Back then, part of our studies was civics, learning about government and history. Our neighborhood was inhabited by a large number of people who worked in middle management for the city, so this was considered important to kids who heard a lot about local politics. We were reading a book about Chicago's history, Fort Dearborn, DuSable, what the 4 stars in the city's flag stood for, all that sort of stuff. One day we read in the book where Mayor Daley, the first, was quoted as saying, Chicago is a melting pot, quote unquote. Ms. Pinta turned toward the class and explained what a melting pot was. Then she said something to us, good Southside Irish kids, that we found to be great heresy. She said, I disagree with the mayor of Chicago Chicago is not a melting pot, she said. As many of the kids made the sign of the cross, trying to ward off her evil statement, the teacher then proceeded to prove her point. She pulled out an electric hot plate and double boiler that she had pre-positioned. She said, everyone who has crayons, everyone has old crayons, broken ones, or ones you don't use, who has them, come up here and put them in this pot. We're going to melt them, she said, with a knowing twinkle in her eye. We brought up our crayons, and she melted them right before our eyes. As we crowded around our desk watching the gooey fluid form, she turned to me asking, now what color is that? I responded in a typical kid fashion, kind of looks like puke green, like someone Ralphed bad. She giggled. That's a very interesting description, Billy, and very true. She then asked us all to retake our seats, but Chicago is not a pile of vomit, is it? She turned and from behind her desk pulled out a large picture of what looked like a stained glass window. I learned later that was a picture of the famous Rosetta window in the Cathedral of Notre Dame. As she pointed to the picture, she explained, America is not a mixture of color. Each of us, like each piece of glass here, has our own color. Not only the color of our skin, but also like the color of our religion, job, family, ethnic background, and all the other attributes that define us. Each piece of glass has its own color and is beautiful all by itself, but when these pieces of glass come together, as they are arranged in just the right way, they make something larger and a great deal more beautiful than any one piece. It took me a while to realize the deep teaching this was. Will from Skokie on Miss Pinta. This is third grade. Do you think that sort of lesson is provided third graders, even in Catholic schools today? I would depressingly observe. Okay, thanks, Will from Skokie, Miss Pinta. Pat Soteric. I just got a text over the weekend from her husband, Ed. He was cleaning up Pat Soteric from Palatine Township. She was she's passed, and Ed just texted me, and I want to make sure I have the text. That he was cleaning up her phone and saw, my number in there, maybe a text from years back talking about politics or something, which is what I used to talk about with Pat. And so he sent me this this note about her. If I can find it. Golly gee, I had it. Yeah, show prep live. Yep, got it. Clean up my wife's phone, emails, text, phone numbers. We listened to you daily over the years. I'm pretty sure you dealt with Pat politically, as she was a political junkie and a delegate to the last convention. Anyway, she passed after a 15-month hard-fought battle with AML leukemia, and her obituary is still online. It describes her life perfectly. Just Google it. You can read it. Just trying to let folks who knew Pat know she passed. Take care. That's Ed Soteric, Pat's husband. And I did pull up her obit because she was a great lady, great conservative, bundle of energy. She was also Ed's wife for 50 years, a loving mother of Ashley and Scott and the late Jeffrey, grandmother of Madison, sister of Kathleen. The battle with leukemia is mentioned. Even on the most difficult days, when asked how she was feeling, her response never changed, always good. Her unwavering optimism reflected the strength and grace with which she lived her life. Steadfast in her faith, Patricia, was ready to meet her Lord. She was a devoted member of her Bible study group for close to 40 years, finding deep joy, fellowship, and purpose in her spiritual walk. She was known as a political junkie and became passionately involved over the years in many charitable, religious, and outreach programs. Most meaningful to her was reaching a treasure milestone, celebrating 50 years of marriage with Ed, surrounded by family and friends, a goal she proudly and joyfully fulfilled. Pat Soteric. And she was a friend of mine, so I add that as well, and she is missed. All right, this is another friend by extension. So this was submitted, Hannah Semba was submitted by her her son-in-law. This is a friend of mine's mother. My friend is Dr. Bob Semba, who's a retired orthopedic surgeon. People listening, probably a lot of people know him. He's a beloved figure. Edgewood Valley Golf Club. He's also down with me at Old Florida in Naples. And a remarkable guy, great family. And the son-in-law is funny. So the subject is Bob Semba's mother, was a remarkable person. I did not ask Bob for permission to send this. It's not very Japanese to boast, but I, as Hannah's sole son-in-law and a white guy, can get away with it. So here you go. Hannah Semba. She spent her later years ensuring that younger generations understood the injustice of the incarceration of Japanese Americans during World War II. She died in March of this year, just a couple of weeks before her 100th birthday. She was 15 years old when news arrived at her family's small house in Conway, Washington. On December 7th, soon after the attack on Pearl Harbor, soon after the attack on Pearl Harbor, she recalled hearing her brother shout, "We're at war with Japan." Within a few months, her family would be forced to sell their few possessions, abandon their home, and relocate to government prison camps, an experience that shaped the rest of her life. Hannah was one of 7 children born to Japanese immigrant parents who grew potatoes as tenant farmers in the Skagit Valley in Washington State. After the war broke out, we learned that the FBI was going to people's homes and taking the Japanese immigrants. We were so frightened, she recalled. We didn't have a telephone and got no notice before they arrived at the house. We heard rumors from the Japanese in Seattle that the FBI would take family photos and keepsakes. My mother dug a hole in the backyard and buried all the pictures. When the FBI did come, they told us we couldn't travel more than 5 miles and had to be home by 8 p.m. with lights out. Since we couldn't go beyond 5 miles, we couldn't go to high school anymore, she recalled. Within weeks, Executive Order 9066 authorized the forced removal and incarceration of approximately 125,000 people of Japanese ancestry living on the West Coast into designated prison camps scattered across the dusty interior of the western U.S. At the end of the war, following more than 3 years of incarceration, actually, I should go back here. I'm sorry. The Hayano family was originally assigned to the Tule Lake, California camp and then transferred to the Hart Mountain, Wyoming camp. As a college-bound teenager, only a handful of colleges were willing to admit Japanese American students from the camps on educational leave permits, and she was accepted to Macalester College in St. Paul, Minnesota in 1943. At the end of the war, following more than 3 years of incarceration, the remainder of the Hayano family relocated to Minneapolis to restart their lives. And by the way, that's where my friend Dr. Bob Semba went to college. In 1951, Hannah married Tom Semba, whom she met at the University of Minnesota, where she received a degree in nutrition and completed medical school. And he completed medical school. Executive Order 9066 had also forced Thomas to leave the University of Washington as a freshman, and he was sent to the Tule Lake camp before attending Dakota Wesleyan on an education pass. They settled in Minneapolis to raise a family. Of the many lessons in life, I believe education is the most crucial. When we left the camp, we were so determined that we would rise above what happened that we made sure our children were well educated. That's what I'm most proud of, said Hannah. All 4 of her children became physicians. Hannah rarely spoke about her wartime incarceration until later in life. She said, "I was ashamed of my own ethnicity. You carried this guilt of, what did I do to deserve this? You're in a state of confusion. Why are we here in prison camp? I am an American citizen." She made it a mission to share her story with students, volunteering her time and memoirs through the Minnesota Historical Society, Minnesota Public Radio, the Japanese American Citizens League, the Minnesota Star Tribune, and the Oral History Project at St. Olaf College. Though she never returned to Skagit Valley, the Mount Vernon School District did not forget Hannah. In 2021, 77 years after she was forced to leave, she was invited back to Mount Vernon High School in Washington to finally receive her high school diploma. This story must be told. Could it happen again? Yes, in some ways it's happening now, she said. In sharing her story, Hannah hoped future generations would learn from the mistakes of the past. No matter what our ethnicity, she said, we should remember that we are all equal, we are all Americans, and we must stand together. Hannah Semba. It's great. Great. And this is also, I mean, it's interesting reflections, and we talk about this all the time because the left loves to obsess about the dark periods in American history where terrible decisions were made by executives, by judges, and obviously the Japanese internment camps. FDR was one of those dark periods. A terrible decision was made, terrible injustice committed. So we can tackle those things and still put them in the context of what we did to remediate the wrongs that were committed, the lessons that we learned and applied, and what the country is today. The country is not 1941 America. The country is not 1963 America. And those forces, those neo-Bolshevik revolutionaries that we were just talking about, like Mamdani last hour, want to freeze frame or go back like the 1619 Project did and say the original sin of slavery, hardwired, you cannot scrub it from your, you cannot, sort of ever absolve yourself or move past it because it's in your DNA as a country. And thus, by extension, all of those who fit into the oppressor camp versus the oppressed, the privileged versus the unprivileged. That's the big lie that the left tells. So you confront things honestly, and you hash them out, and you offer recognition and recompense to the extent possible and appropriate, and then you be better. But this has nothing to do with what Mamdani was saying about being unwelcoming to the stranger and all this other leftist pablum that they spew. For example, just another one, this is not, as you'll hear, local to Chicago, but it's worth hearing. It's a great story. I don't think you're going to find any conservatives who will not celebrate the admission into this country formally as an American citizen of a West African gentleman, that's Ray Hales, Marine Corps Sergeant Diakaria Sangri.
I've loved this country since I first got here, so it's amazing. I've been in the Marine Corps for almost 6 years now. I've been deployed, a lot of field ops. It's just an amazing feeling, man. It's just amazing. Thank you for taking the time to interview me. Thank you. I'm from Guinea, West Africa. I came here when I was a little kid. I went to school. I graduated high school. Went to Military Magnet Academy. It's a small school in North Charleston. It's a military school. After that, I went to college a little bit. Student loans. So I was like, okay, let me join the military. I always wanted to join the military. Joined the military. Ended up working out great for me. I promoted to sergeant in less than 3 years. I got accepted into the Commandant's Retention Program, right? So that's amazing. I've just been blessed. It's been a long time. I want to say thank God, thank my parents. My parents work hard. Shout out to my mom. She came here, self-employed, worked her butt off, man, to get me here and give me this opportunity. So I want to say thank you, Mom. If you're watching, thank you. My stepdad, amazing man. He's at work right now. He works double shifts. Just thank you, man, for making me the man I am. Thank you so much. Thank you. Shout out to my unit, AIB, WIFIC. Hey, what's up, brothers? They should be here today, but I only got 2 invitations. But, hey, thank you, American Dream.
Thank you. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
As we all live longer, age really is just a number, but retirement is so much more than one. Hi, I'm Nolan Webster, your Chicagoland Edward Jones financial advisor, and I want to know what retirement means to you. Together, we can look at the big picture and make a strategy to help you reach your goals, because you can't prepare for the unexpected if you don't know where you're headed. Call me at 224-801-6107. That's 224-801-6107, or visit edwardjones.com to get started. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hello?
Sir, this is Officer Peterson. There's been a string of break-ins in the area, and your office, it was hit.
Hit? What do you mean? We were robbed?
Looks like the back door lock was easily pried open, and they moved through the building like they knew exactly what to take. We see wires everywhere. No computers.
What? No computers? I just upgraded everything.
Looks like they moved fast. We only found out because a neighboring business had their alarm go off. Do you have any security cameras?
No, nothing.
Don't wait until it's too late. Goldilocks protects Chicagoland businesses with custom security solutions. From reinforced commercial doors with keyless entry to cameras and 24/7 monitoring that alerts authorities immediately. Schedule a free on-site assessment at GoldilocksInc.com. Again, that's GoldilocksInc.com. Plus, AM 560 listeners get their first 3 months of monitoring free with a new install. Call 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Goldilocks, Chicago's premier locksmith, doors, and security systems company since 1981.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up at 6:36, our latest installment of Sports and Politics. The President, FIFA, and a red card. 6:36, now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
6:32. 69 degrees this morning in the QC Kinetics newsroom. The 4th of July weekend brought torrential rains, flooding roads and basements. Suburban Bartlett neighbors are still trying to clean out and clean up. Even the Bishop Ford Freeway was shut down for hours due to flooding, and we see the residual delays on that even this morning on the AM commute. A man is charged in an officer-involved shooting on Chicago's South Side. Authorities say police were conducting a legal traffic stop Friday in the 2000 block of East 79th when Malik Reitzel fled the scene. Retiring Police Superintendent Larry Snelling.
And I shouldn't say attempt, they actually stopped the vehicle. This vehicle appeared to be some type of homemade vehicle. It's the best way I can describe it. During this stop, the individual that the officers were investigating fled the scene.
The officer returned fire after Reitzel displayed a handgun, hitting Reitzel, the officer's gunshot. During the struggle, a second officer was also shot in the arm. Both officers were hospitalized in good condition. The suspect then placed into custody, charged with attempted murder, aggravated battery, and other charges. 7 are recovering from a shooting on the west side. Police say hundreds began gathering yesterday in the 3800 block of West Maypole, drinking and disrupting the neighborhood when gunfire rang out.
Not truly understanding or knowing or caring about the consequences of what happens. To get 7 people shot at an incident like that, is reprehensible. And I think we ought to hold people that put these events on accountable.
28th Ward Alderman Jason Irvin. Russia launching missile and drone attacks on Kyiv, killing 12 in Ukraine. President Donald Trump heading to Ankara, Turkey for the annual NATO summit. And clashes have broken out inside a prison in Sri Lanka's capital, killing 25, injuring more than 100 this morning. A man is facing DUI charges after a head-on crash killed a woman and critically injured her son in Geneva on Saturday night. And 3 fires connected to the improper disposal of fireworks occurred in Racine, Wisconsin, following the 4th of July. Chicago sports, Cubs over the Cardinals 6-4. White Sox split their 4-game set with the Guardians with a 7-6 win in Cleveland. Chris Gotterup celebrating his 5th tour win, winning the John Deere Classic at TPC Deer Run in Silvis. The news, a service of Steiner Homes. More than a business, it's a calling. Family-owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. SteinerHomesLTD.com, Northwest Indiana's leading home builder. A check of the roads in 2 minutes on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher explains what America means to him.
America means freedom, faith, family, and the courage to defend all 3. It means honoring the men and women of our military and law enforcement who stand watch over our great nation. I believe in an America First agenda because I believe our leaders should always put American citizens, American values, and the American dream first. I'm proud to be called the happy conservative warrior because I still believe the best days of this country are ahead of us.
Don't miss the Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
March 4th, 1865. The Civil War was nearing its end. The nation was exhausted, divided, and grieving. On that day, President Abraham Lincoln delivered his second inaugural address, just 700 words spoken in about 7 minutes. 41 days later, Lincoln would be assassinated. Yet the words he spoke that day still echo through history. In that brief address, Lincoln referenced God 14 times, spoke of prayer, and quoted scripture repeatedly. He reminded Americans that both sides of the conflict shared a common faith, saying both read the same Bible and pray to the same God, and each invokes his aid against the other. Lincoln understood that political division alone could not explain the nation's crisis. More than 160 years later, America still wrestles with division, truth, and our dependence on God. The question is whether we'll remember the wisdom Lincoln left behind.
I'd like to tell you about a man named Phineas who as a child survived the Holocaust. Phineas survived because Christians hid him from the Nazis, risking everything to save his life. Today, Phineas is in his 80s. He can no longer stand on his own or even leave his home to receive medical care. And when sirens sound and missiles fall, he doesn't have the time or the strength to reach safety. But once again, Christians are helping to save his life. Through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, a mobile clinic brings doctors and medicine right to Phineas's doorstep, providing care that he otherwise would not receive, especially during a time of war. Phineas said, "Christians saved my life during the Holocaust, and now again, they are helping me." As Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Day approaches, remember these precious children of God by lifting them up in prayer, asking for his protection, his comfort, and his peace. Stand with Israel in prayer by visiting supportifcj.org. That's supportifcj.org.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
68 degrees at 6:39 in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Stop-and-go traffic on the Bishop Ford due to a right lane block with ongoing flooding concerns inbound between Dalton and 130th. An accident cleared on the Tri-State this morning northbound just after 41. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And up next, the latest forecast in our Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center. Partly sunny, pleasant, less humid today with a high of 81.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Sports and politics and sports and politics and sports and politics and intersection. Arrogance and ignorance. Arrogance, ignorance, and arrogance and ignorance. Intersection.
All right, on this installment, I guess we have to tackle this World Cup controversy that President Trump has apparently instigated involving Folarin Balogun, which I thought was like a weapon that Palantir was developing until I learned he's a member of the U.S. men's soccer team that's playing the Jean-Claude Van Damme's tonight. So this guy got a 1-game suspension for stepping on the ankle of an opponent in the previous contest. Do I have that right? You get suspended for a game in soccer if you step on your opponent's foot or ankle? You don't get suspended for flopping when you're not touched? Anyway, That's what happened, as it's been reported. On Sunday, that would be yesterday, Folarin Balogun had his red card suspension revoked through, as the Wall Street Journal reports, a process that is shrouded in mystery and already dripping with controversy. So he's playing tonight, and I guess this is a material player to the team that enhances America's chances against the Van Dams. And so it's drawing reaction because it seems like Trump interceded here. See, why don't you just call Mark Rutte, NATO Secretary General? He's a Belgian. Just call him to call the Infantino, the FIFA guy. The Belgian Soccer Association is astonished, quote unquote, that this has occurred, and they are examining all avenues to appeal or change the decision back to the original decision. I mean, it's the comments, again, this is not my bailiwick, but the comments suggest that maybe the initial punishment was meted out, the one-game suspension when you're to the round of 16, was overly harsh. But by the same token, you don't want politicians interceding to put their thumb on a sports league commissioner and, derive a benefit for their national team that smaller, less politically potent countries if Balogun if he had been a player for Cape Verde, would he have gotten the same treatment if the president of Cape Verde had called Infantino and said, that's a little harsh, and we're playing the Belgians and we need a full complement of players? And 312-642-5600. I assume that's the alphawealthgroup.com call and text line. I assume there are some people listening, despite my admonitions against soccer, are still soccer fans.
Halfback passes to the center. Back to the wing. Back to the center. Center holds it. Holds it. Holds it.
Yeah. A preview of tonight's game. By the way, just since we're on the topic, some things I have picked up, not intentionally. I am sort of following some of the World Cup fans from the various countries represented who've made their trek over to America and are enjoying themselves. And even to the point of disappearance, a British dude who went missing for 10 days found in a pub, blissfully unaware that people were looking for him. Now, I mean, that's an excursion. That's the kind of thing I like to see, and that's one of the things you can do in America is disappear. You don't have Big Brother tracking your movements like you do in some countries. But just before I get to more of the fans, this guy, this Norwegian, Erling Haaland, he, I guess he scored 2 goals against Argentina yesterday in the round of 16, making, I think that's the most goals ever scored by one player in a World Cup game. And I think that may be the highest scoring, 2-0, maybe the highest scoring World Cup game in World Cup history. I don't know. But he's got a $320,000 Birkin bag collection. So one of, I guess he's one of the sport's best, one of the world's best. And he collects purses? And you're trying to tell me about soccer?
This match will determine once and for all which nation is the greatest on earth, Mexico or Portugal.
Now, the one thing I will say, just in terms of the fans, which is great, I mean, I can't get enough of the Japanese soccer fans in a Bass Pro Shop trying out all the guns, for example, and just wowed that they have access to all of these weapons, theoretically, if they were, in this country and able to legally purchase them. But just the fact that they are allowed to, take them out for a test drive is remarkable to them. It's just interesting to watch. But how about this guy, Sebastian the German? Sebastian the German has so enjoyed his experience, and I guess he's mainly been in Boston because this is an NBC affiliate in Boston that's reporting on this. So enjoyed his experience in America following ostensibly the German World Cup team. He doesn't want to go back. That's what he's really getting misty-eyed about, going back to Germany.
Sorry, sir. It makes you teary. Why? Why? Help us understand. Why is it so impactful to you?
Sebastian Krauts never imagined his trip to America would be so emotional.
Yeah. No, you're human. Happy tears. Yeah.
In just a few weeks being here,
I fall in love with this country, and this was so emotional. I even cried in the stadium.
It's a huge departure from what he was expecting before traveling to follow the German soccer team in its World Cup run.
To be honest, I was a bit scared or had the fear to travel to the United States. News about shootings and criminals and that the country is not safe. Bob takes us home. It's great. America is great.
Sebastian met a group of strangers who offered him a ride to his hotel.
What is the best city?
Boston. That's Bob Series and his family, New Englanders who showed a group of Germans that Boston is warmer than some might believe.
Bob, thank you so much. Love USA.
Enjoy your time in the U.S.
To me, I watched the video by myself maybe 40 times. I had tears in my eyes.
Sebastian was more upset about the prospect of leaving America than Germany being eliminated from the tournament.
There you go. And now you got these some countries calling for, and fans calling, America should never host the World Cup again after this red card controversy with Flo Balogun. Really? Well, the fans will revolt. The Scots alone seem to be having a good old time here. Jim in Crown Point.
We're in a conundrum now. Trump has a black player reinstated because FIFA was racist against him. So Trump is actually helping a minority.
Yeah, okay. I don't think he claimed racism. I think he just claimed bad call. But yeah, I mean, if you want to force feed it through that lens, I suppose one can do that. What's with the Norwegian with the purse collection, though? Seriously. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Sean Thompson here. Recently, someone asked me, what is it that I love most about being on AM 560 The Answer? I didn't hesitate. I love the fact that AM 560 is a family. You, the listeners, our advertisers, and all of us who are on air make up one big family in a very bad place. We look out for each other because we share the same values. And so many of our advertisers are small and medium businesses. They're owners who work very hard, they play by the rules, they pay their taxes, they make their communities even stronger. If that describes you, and you own or operate a business, then I want to invite you to consider working with AM 560 to market your business. If you want to reach AM 560 family members, whether through radio, live events, or digital marketing, then call Amy O'Toole. She's a wonderful girl. She's in charge of advertising around here. Call her at 847-472-8925. That's 847-472-8925. Find out how you can become part of the AM 560 family. Together, our family can truly help make America great again.
2 years ago, Bobby Carpenter completed treatments for knee pain at QC Kinetics. So we're checking in with the former college and pro football player to see how he's doing.
I've been asked a lot, how long does this last? How long does it work? I go, I've had mine for a couple years, and everything feels very good. It feels just as good as it did when I started to turn the corner.
Bobby's an active husband, dad, and business owner. That's why 2 years ago, he heard about QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative treatments, and he knew he could trust them for his chronic knee pain.
And thankfully, with QC Kinetics, I was able to go through this, and my activities are the same as it was. I'm able to coach my kids in sports. I can play golf. I can go run.
QC Kinetics patients like Bobby don't miss a beat. No surgery or rehab. Just freedom from debilitating joint pain. Ready for lasting relief from joint pain? Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation and see if you're a good candidate.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-827-6261. That's 312-827-6261. 312-827-6261.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again, not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family-owned with integrity since 1981.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
March 4th, 1865. The Civil War was nearing its end. The nation was exhausted, divided, and grieving. On that day, President Abraham Lincoln delivered his second inaugural address, just 700 words spoken in about 7 minutes. 41 days later, Lincoln would be assassinated. Yet the words he spoke that day still echo through history. In that brief address, Lincoln referenced God 14 times, spoke of prayer, and quoted scripture repeatedly. He reminded Americans that both sides of the conflict shared a common faith, saying both read the same Bible and pray to the same God, and each invokes his aid against the other. Lincoln understood that political division alone could not explain the nation's crisis. More than 160 years later, America still wrestles with division, truth, and our dependence on God. The question is whether we'll remember the wisdom Lincoln left behind.
AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Another great story, incredible story. An immigrant story, too. Much to the chagrin of the identitarian neo-Bolsheviks and their agitprop. Rishi Sharma. Rishi Sharma's parents came from India. He's 28 years old, gives us hope for young Americans, too. And he has spent the last 10 years of his life, the time he graduated high school, interviewing World War II veterans. The story of Rishi Sharma, CBS.
The last 10 years, I've been on the mission to interview every single World War II combat veteran. And I've quite honestly spent every single day of the last 10 years doing that.
Amazing. I first met Rishi in 2016. Just out of high school, he was already deeply interested in World War II books, but was just beginning to realize the living history all around him.
There are real superhero World War II vets out there, and I want to meet them.
So Rishi started driving around his Southern California neighborhood
every single day
to record interviews with these vets. He then expanded his outreach.
This is a map of all the places that I'm planning to go to.
This is a multi-year trip, right?
Oh yeah, I'm going to be on the road for years.
It's now been 10 years.
This looks really good.
Today, he's interviewing 100-year-old Marine veteran Nils Mokler of Yorktown, New York. Nils was a combat intelligence scout. His first battle, one of the bloodiest in Marine history, and one of the most inspiring, Iwo Jima.
What did it mean to you seeing the American flag being raised?
Well, the hair on my arm still stands up when I think about it, how beautiful it was.
Rishi's project is funded by donations.
Rockets,
the recordings,
bombs,
posted online and given to the families.
I thought I was going to die.
So far, Rishi has done 3,000 interviews and counting.
I'll never forget landing on Omaha Beach.
Although counting much more slowly now.
When I first met Rishi a decade ago, there were about 700,000 World War II veterans still alive. Today, only about 30,000 remain. And Rishi says when they're all gone, probably in the next decade or so, America will lose a lot more than just a bunch of old war stories.
Because for so long they've been the moral compass of our society. Just the advice that they impart silently steers the ship of this country.
This weekend, we get to celebrate 250 years as a nation. And Rishi reminds us that is not by accident. It is thanks in large part to that generation of sacrifice and moral clarity we call the greatest.
Indeed. He's crossed all 50 states and half the world. Additional reporting on Rishi Sharma's 10-year odyssey to interview all these World War II veterans. It's remarkable. He asks men for a few hours of their memories, and he hands the entire recording to their families for free. And the mindset he has is somebody who, I mean, you just heard how mature he is and appreciation he has for history and its importance, particularly against elements that would erase our country's history that you saw on display all weekend. He does so that 200 years from now, a great-great-grandchild will know not just their hero's name, but how he laughed, how he cried, and what he sacrificed. And Rishi has no military family. As I said, his parents immigrated here from India. This is somebody who came to this country, family, right way, and has gratitude. I mean, real gratitude, next level gratitude. Incredible. Great story. And great project. Rishi Sharma. If you want to donate, Rishi Sharma, Sharma is his name. Worthy of it. Stephen Bucci at 7:07. It's now 7 o'clock on AM 560 WIND Chicago.
World Cup controversy. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Team USA is waiting to find out if its leading star, Flo Balogun, will be able to play tonight against Belgium in Seattle. An automatic one-game suspension after a red card ejection in the last match for stepping on an opponent's ankle was lifted by soccer's governing body FIFA after a phone call to its president from President Trump. Fox's Jay Berman reports that may not be the last word.
When the U.S. and Belgium meet in the round of 16, Balogun will indeed be in uniform, as for now. The Belgian Soccer Federation formally wrote to FIFA to appeal the matter, and the right to appeal was granted. The submission for the appeal had to be in by 8 a.m. Eastern Time, as well as the response from U.S. Soccer.
And that red card call itself is controversial. It doesn't appear that Balogun meant to hurt the other player. President Trump is expected to leave tonight for the NATO summit starting tomorrow in Ankara, Turkey. UK Ambassador Christian Turner spoke to Fox about the president's demand for more burden sharing. Here's Fox's Alex Hogan.
Ahead of the summit, the White House says that it's looking to what it calls a posture review of shifting the burden of Europe's defense to Europe. Britain's ambassador to the U.S. appeared on Fox saying that that's a message that the UK accepts.
The outgoing British Prime Minister announced a huge rise in our defense spending. It adds up to $393 billion US over the next 4 to 5 years.
President Trump will meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the summit. A senior U.S. official says that discussions will center on the urgency to end the war and that the president will likely also follow up with Russian President Vladimir Putin as well.
And Zelensky is asking for more international support after Russian airstrikes kill at least 18 people in and around the capital, Kyiv, overnight. In Rittman, Ohio, a police officer is killed. 2 others and a police dog are wounded. Shot responding to reports of gunfire at a home. That suspect and 2 other people were found dead inside the home. Several police cars with bullet holes had to be towed from the scene. America's listening to Fox News.
68 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man charged in an officer-involved shooting on Chicago's South Side. Authorities say officers were conducting a traffic stop on Friday in the 2000 block of East 79th when Malik Reitzel fled the scene. Police Superintendent Larry Snelling.
The officers gave a brief chase, caught up to this individual, and a struggle ensued. During this struggle, the individual reached into a shoulder bag, removed a handgun, and fired a round, striking one of our officers.
As the officers tried to take the suspect into custody, the officer returned fire, hitting Reitzel, and during that struggle, a second officer was shot in the arm. Both are in good condition. 7 are recovering after a shooting on the west side. Hundreds began gathering outside early yesterday in the 3800 block of West Maypole, drinking and disrupting the neighborhood. Then, according to 28th Ward Alderman Jason Irvin, gunfire rang out.
Not truly understanding or knowing or caring about the consequences of what happens. To get 7 people shot at an incident like that, is reprehensible. And I think we ought to hold people that put these events on accountable.
All of the victims are listed in good condition. 2 early morning shootings in Gary, Indiana over the weekend have left a 10-year-old boy dead and several others injured. And Illinois State Police are investigating a deadly crash on I-88 in DuPage County. It happened late Saturday night in the westbound lanes near Winfield Road. The victim has not yet been identified. Chicago sports. Cubs salvaged their 3-game home series against the Cardinals with a 6-4 win, while the White Sox split their 4-game set with the Guardians following a 7-6 win in Cleveland. The news, a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business, it's a calling. Family-owned, dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. SteinerHomesLTD.com. A check of your roads in 2 minutes on AM 560.
Alex Marlow sees Iran not playing by the rules again.
The president has said that Iran has violated the ceasefire agreement with the United States by launching at least 4 one-way attack drones at ships in the Strait of Hormuz, which is not entirely unexpected. Tonight, it could be a beautiful day for an early summer bombing of Iran. And I'm cool with that. They don't want to play along. Go bomb them some more. Let's do it.
The Alex Marlow Show. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Our founders believed that freedom wasn't just a word, it was a way of life. The freedom to move forward, the freedom to pursue what matters most, the freedom to live fully. But pain has a way of taking those freedoms away. That's why Relief Factor exists and why I endorse it. I've seen how many in this audience have regained their freedom and they're back to living life on their own terms. Relief Factor, it's 100% drug-free. It's a research-based supplement designed to help support a healthy inflammatory response, addressing pain at its source, not just covering it up. Over 1 million Americans have found relief and reclaimed parts of their life they thought were behind them. So this year, as we celebrate 250 years of freedom, ask yourself a simple question. Are you living with the freedom you deserve? Relief Factor. They give you the opportunity to live pain-free and to get back to the life you love. To commemorate our country's birth, they are offering a special patriotic price, just $17.76. So you can celebrate your freedom from pain. Your $17.76 3-week quick start is ready for you right now. ReliefFactor.com, 800-4-RELIEF. 800-4-RELIEF.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. During cold and flu season, a nearby cough or sneeze can trigger a familiar dread, that helpless feeling of being defenseless against an invisible viral threat. But what if you could change the narrative? What if you could fortify your body's natural defenses? This is why I developed Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail designed to give your body the upper hand. Virago is more than a supplement. It's a revolutionary liquid formula packed with 23 powerful natural nutraceuticals for rapid absorption. This unique blend is scientifically crafted to help build resilience and keep you protected. Don't just hope for good health. Make it happen with Virago. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
Virago. Order your bottle today online at myvirago.com and use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. myvirago.com. Coupon code IMMUNE.
7:07, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Bishop Ford outbound now shut down. They're doing cleanup from weekend flooding. It's between 130th and Sibley, and the inbound side is delayed as a right lane is blocked with high standing water there inbound between Dalton and 130th. Accident in Lombard, North Avenue and Swift Road, and slow on the Stevenson inbound between Ashland and the Dan Ryan Merge. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but first, check of your morning forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today, expect partly sunny skies, pleasant conditions, and lower humidity with a high of 80. Tonight will be clear with a low of 63. Tomorrow will bring mostly sunny skies and a high of 86. Wednesday is expected to be mostly sunny with a high of 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman. Listen Saturday mornings at 8. Learn more at willsave.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Big turnout for the Khamenei funeral in Tehran over the weekend. Red flags of revenge waved, slogans shouted, including no compromise, no surrender, only revenge. Our new partners in peace, turning over a new leaf. The IRGC Quds Force Commander Esmail Khani, Americans should know their place and avoid confronting the Muslims. Trump is trembling. The U.S. should fear not only Hormuz, but many other locations as well. No match for for Hezbollah and so forth. The words of the IRGC Quds Force Commander. And mediator, or part of the mediation team, facilitating the quote-unquote peace talks, Pakistanis. Here's what Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif had to say about the late Khamenei.
Ayatollah Khamenei was a great scholar, a great leader who showed resilience, courage, patience, and vision, and served Iran with his utmost dedication and unwavering commitment. Millions of Muslims, not only in Iran, but around the globe, will remember him as a leader, his relations, and thousands of Iranian brothers and sisters were martyred out of extreme aggression. Pakistan and Iran are two brotherly countries. our hearts beat together and we will stand together. We shall march together under all circumstances.
Wonderful. Sounds like an honest broker. Huh. Others in attendance at the funeral included a number of American neo-Bolsheviks, including former Elizabeth Warren staffer and somewhat of a cause celeb in neo-Bolshevik circles. She now apparently is in Lebanon working for Islamists. Calla Walsh.
He was a leader to all people of the world who struggle against imperialism, against arrogance, against Zionism, against genocide. To me, he was the greatest anti-imperialist leader to have lived during my lifetime.
A social studies teacher and elected official in Orange County, Vermont, who's also a higher up in the American Communist Party, Christopher Halali.
Hi, everyone. It's Christopher Halali, High Bailiff of Orange County, Vermont. July 4th, 2026 is the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence of the United States of America. And it'll be celebrated in the U.S. tonight with fireworks and with great pomp and circumstance. But as an American citizen, and more importantly as an Iranian American, I'm here in Tehran as part of the funeral and the ceremonies to commemorate the life and legacy of Imam Khamenei and his family, and to give him his final send-off in Mashhad at his burial. You might be wondering what an elected U.S. politician is doing in Iran at this point. I'm here for the sole purpose of defending Iran and for showing my solidarity and support for Iran, for the revolution, and for our unity at this time against imperialism and against Zionism. For this 250th anniversary, I'm not in the U.S. I'm here in Iran, and there's no other place I'd rather be.
Well, don't hurry back on our account. Moscow-backed journalist, American, Jackson Hinkle, part of the American delegation to the Khamenei funeral.
I came here as an American to say that I fully reject the crimes of the U.S. empire and the Zionist entity against the good people of Iran. The United States right now is waging a war against God, and we know that they will never be successful.
Zohran Mamdani was unavailable. He had to give an anti-American July 4th speech back in New York, and his wife was unavailable because she was on an Islamist retreat in Spain. I'm sure they would apologize to the regime in Tehran for not making it. Send their regards, though. The Pakistanis and the Qataris are partners in peace. It seems like the only Gulf state that didn't send a delegation, or very publicly didn't, was UAE. Yeah, how's it going there? For more on this, pleased to be joined by Stephen Bucci. He served America for 3 decades as an Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official. Now a visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure to be on the show. So listening to those takes, that's not terribly inspiring.
No, these American communists are a bit of a problem, which is why Trump addressed them multiple times, not by name, but by philosophy and activity over the weekend in the July 4th 250 festivities, which I thought was appropriate, actually. But I'm setting aside those red diaper nitwits. The Pakistani prime minister, I mean, he's got a very stylized view of Khamenei, and he is part of the. It's at his sanction that we have Pakistanis trying to broker a peace between Iran and the United States. We being taken for a ride here? Isn't that fairly clear?
Well, the Pakistanis have a long and storied histories of playing both sides against the middle. They have done that repeatedly they're technically one of our friends and allies, but they have a very strong radical element inside their country. I mean, their intelligence service, we knew, was supporting the Taliban. At the same time, their military and their political leadership was helping us during the war on terror against the Taliban. So this is not surprising. They're buddies with the Chinese because the two of them hate the Indians. They're buddies with the radical Islamists because they got a bunch of their own. Anything the Pakistanis set up, you need to dig a little deeper. You don't necessarily have to reject it. Maybe it'll be helpful to us, but you can't just go, oh, okay, the Pakis agreed to this. We're good with that. They're our friends, because they're not just our friends. They're our friends. They're friends with the Iranians. They're friends with the Al Qaeda. They're friends with the Taliban. They are not an honest broker for anybody but themselves.
And the turnout in Tehran for the Khamenei funeral, I mean, I don't know how much of that was at a point of a gun, so it's always hard to take state propaganda at face value. But if even some approximation of that is real, it doesn't exactly speak to a country that is ready to revolt and throw off its Islamist leadership.
I'm not sure about that, Dan. This is just like people turning out in outside the Kremlin when one of their leaders died, or when Kim Jong Un's father and grandfather died. Everybody was wailing and just so broken up, and they're all going, "These guys suck. We don't want them, but we're stuck with them." That is not real emotion on the part of anybody. There might be a small percentage that are sad because they actually have believed the crazy propaganda. They're spoon-fed from birth. But most of them, once they get to be adults, figure out, we don't have that good a deal here. But they're not going to put themselves at risk in a public way like that by refusing to go and behave according to the script. So I wouldn't write off the Iranian people because, some of them were out there in that square doing the performative art. It's kind of like being a Democrat, politician in America. You may disagree with the communists that are coming into your party, but that seems to be the coming phase. So they're just going to go along with it. It's unfortunate, but that's what you see.
There's reporting in multiple outlets that, to no one's surprise, exactly, Iran is planning on imposing tolls in the Strait. The timing of it is what is in question, and so there's the suggestion that obviously we understand the Trump administration's posture towards this issue as it pertains to the midterms, but after the midterms, there still likely will be an opportunity to impose our will in the Strait, and maybe at that point the Trump administration would consider taking it.
I think they're dreaming on that one. The Trump administration is not ever going to accept the Iranians giving people tolls or forcing them to do their bidding when they go through the Straits. That is not going to happen. Now, if our administration changed today, if this wasn't a by-election coming up, it was a presidential election, I'd be concerned, because I think if the other party got in, they'd say, "Oh, what's the big deal? The Iranians are reasonable. We can deal with them. Let's let them have it." I don't think that's going to happen in the next 2.5 years.
That would require some sort of response, and that the administration seems loath to offer much of a military response, at least to this point.
Well, and again, it's probably because they're still sorting out, okay, who is saying that? Is it the real people in charge? Is it the people that are 1/3 in charge? Is it just some crazy public affairs guy making the comment? The Iranians are good at this. I'm not saying this has happened by accident. There's calculation in their public, the various public responses. On one hand, telling the negotiator, sure, we'll do that. On the other hand, saying completely the opposite, still doing the death to America and, oh, no, we own the straits kind of positioning. But they're doing it all with an eye to see what the Trump administration is going to do. And, trust me, I'm with you. I can't understand why President Trump has had the patience to let this go this far. I think we're past the time when that hammer should have come down on the Iranian IRGC and other more radical elements of their structure. They need to go. They're clearly not going to change. So we need to go back to work and take them down. And I'm sorry that sounds bellicose to some people, but you can't trust the Iranians. They habitually lie. There's no restriction from them lying in their theology or their culture. Why we think they're not going to do that, I don't know, but it needs to stop, and we need to stop them.
Someday maybe I'd love to hear J.D. Vance explain why he thought or maybe still thinks that the Iranian leadership was really interested in turning over a new leaf, and they recognize the last 47 years of their conduct has been a big mistake, and they're going to reposture themselves vis-a-vis America. I mean, what could he possibly have been thinking to say something so ridiculous, so indefensible? I mean, it's really embarrassing, frankly, to me.
It's kind of an aspirational comment. You kind of, if you say it, you hope maybe people will say, well, okay, that's what we're going to do.
I mean, come on. Well, how Pollyannish is that?
Yeah.
I mean, good grief.
I'm with you. I don't think that's going to move them. And in fact, when you do that with the Iranians, it just encourages them to do more bad behavior. I don't think it's worth it. And I think J.D. Vance is smart enough to know that. So, unless there's some deeper thing going on, there's somebody there that's a signal to, and I don't know that. It's kind of like, really? That makes no sense.
I have a feeling he's going to have to recast that in a few years the same way he recast referring to Trump as a Nazi when he joined on as the VP. I wanted to get your take on this, too. Our partners in peace there, the Iranians, there's a report that indicates the Iranian Quds Force, which is part of the IRGC, has established a unit called Mukhtar that is working with Mexican drug cartels and elements of the Iranian diaspora to plan assassinations against U.S. officials, perhaps even the president.
I would say I would have been very surprised if anybody could tell me with certainty that was not happening up to this point. I think those guys have been doing that for a long time. The drug cartels are a natural ally for the Iranian, particularly through the Quds Force. They hate us. We're a hindrance to their business. They're very motivated, and they're very well armed and equipped and definitely funded. It's a dangerous situation, and it's one we need to be addressing, and I think we are addressing as far as our intel services. There's no Pollyanna on that aspect, in my opinion. We're watching those guys. We're looking for that to happen. I think anybody in the Iranian diaspora that does not have massively good anti-Iranian regime credentials is probably being watched like a hawk, and probably the people that do have the credentials are being watched like hawks. That is a big danger. So
I hope it includes that social studies teacher from Vermont that's over there right now mourning the loss of Khamenei. The Turks. Here we go again. Another partner, NATO partner, the Turks. This will something that the D.C. press corps and the left will have to quickly scurry by. Turkey blocks American LGBTQ plus crews from docking, citing moral standards. I guess there's not going to be any pride parades in Istanbul this year under Erdogan. Real surprise. What about selling F-35s to the Turks? Is that a good idea?
In my opinion, no, it's not. That's a bad bet. If the Turks get them, I don't think that's some secret way to get F-35s to Iran or anything else. They also know we can go in and take out those planes at any time. But the Turks under Erdogan are, Erdogan's a Muslim Brotherhood guy.
Mm-hmm.
He is not a Western-leaning, Ataturk kind of Turkish leader. He is a throwback to, he wants to have the Ottoman Empire again. He really believes the Turks are ethnically, intellectually, spiritually above all the rest of the Muslims, and that, much like the Persians who they think they should be in charge of the Middle East because they were at one time. The Turks want to be in charge of the Middle East again because they were in charge at one time. And Erdogan has no problem talking out of both sides of his face. He cannot be trusted. That alone would give me some reticence about passing our most advanced aircraft technology to him. I don't care if he comes with a pile of cash. And Turkey doesn't have the kind of cash other folks do. So, they get the kind of proprietary special deals that NATO members get. And I don't think they are earning that and have not the entire time Erdogan's been in power.
Stephen Bucci served America for 3 decades as Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official, now a visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thank you as always.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, and have a great week.
You too. And Stephen joined us on the elfwealthgroup.com answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneinc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's accessoneinc.com. Tech made personal locally.
If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Last year, Mitch, 50, railroad worker, income 100 G's a year, score 630, called to consolidate his debt with a cash-out refinance. Team Hochberg loan officer Johnny Hendrickson helped Mitch pay off his debt and save $800 a month. Johnny called Mitch for a 6-month post-closing checkup and informed him his credit score was now over 700. Then Johnny helped Mitch lower his rate, remove the PMI, and save him another $400 a month while covering all his closing costs. Let's review. Team Hochberg loan officer Johnny Hendrickson helped Mitch eliminate his debt, save $1,200 a month, and improve his scores over 100 points. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit that website you know you love, 56david.com. Atlantic Coast Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 643114.
If stairs in your home are becoming difficult, there's a practical solution, and it doesn't have to come with pushy salespeople. Access provides dependable stair lifts designed to help you stay safely in the home you love. No gimmicks, no overselling, just honest guidance, quality equipment, and professional local installation. We'll explain your options, work within your budget, and let you decide what's right at your pace. For a straightforward, no pressure, free in-home consultation, call 630 616-6249 or visit allaboutaccess.com.
Each morning, the newsmakers and the newsbreakers shaping today's conversation are heard on the AlphaWealthGroup.com answer line on Chicago's Morning Answer. When you need answers about what's happening in your world, you turn to AM 560 The Answer. And when you need answers about how to prepare for and protect your retirement, you turn to the Alpha Wealth Group, now the proud sponsor of the AM 560 Answer line, right here on Chicago's source for news, opinion, and insight. AM 560 The Answer.
Sean Thompson here. Recently, someone asked me, what is it that I love most about being on AM 560 The Answer? I didn't hesitate. I love the fact that AM 560 is a family. You, the listeners, our advertisers, and all of us who are on air make up one big family in a very bad place. We look out for each other because we share the same values. And so many of our advertisers are small and medium businesses. They're owners who work very hard, they play by the rules, they pay their taxes, they make their communities even stronger. If that describes you and you own or operate a business, then I want to invite you to consider working with AM 560 to market your business. If you want to reach AM 560 family members, whether through radio, live events, or digital marketing, then call Amy O'Toole. She's a wonderful girl. She's in charge of advertising around here. Call her at 847-472-8925. That's 847-472-8925. Find out how you can become part of the AM 560 family. Together, our family can truly help make America great again.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up at 7:37, nobody loves a celebrity-studded wedding gala more than me, of course. So I guess that will require me to tackle the nuptials of one Travis and one Taylor, which we'll do in the next installment of Why Dan Proft is Single at 7:37. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
69 degrees sunshine this morning. In our QC Kinetics newsroom, a man charged in an officer-involved shooting on Chicago's South Side. Officers in Chicago conducting a traffic stop last Friday in the 2000 block of East 79th when Malik Wrightsell fled the scene. Retiring Police Superintendent Larry Snelling.
The officers gave a brief chase, caught up to this individual, and a struggle ensued. During this struggle, the individual reached into a shoulder bag, removed a handgun, and fired a round, striking one of our officers.
In the vest, that officer then returned fire, hitting Wrightsell. During the struggle, a second officer was shot. Both officers were rushed to area hospitals in good condition. Mayor Brandon Johnson.
These two officers exhibited a great deal of bravery, courage, and strength. I had the chance to meet with both of the families as well as one of the officers. They are in good spirits.
The suspect was placed into custody, now charged with attempted murder, aggravated battery to a peace officer, and other charges. 7 are recovering after a shooting on the west side. Police say hundreds began gathering yesterday, early in the morning, in the 3800 block of West Maypole, drinking and disrupting when gunfire rang out in the neighborhood.
Not truly understanding or knowing or caring about the consequences of what happens. To get 7 people shot at an incident like that, is reprehensible. And I think we ought to hold people that put these events on accountable.
28th Ward Alderman Jason Irvin, 2 underage teens and 4 other people were sent to the hospital. A man is dead in Memphis, Tennessee this morning, shot by 2 members of the National Guard. It happened early Sunday in the downtown area. Local police were in pursuit of an armed suspect when National Guard soldiers assigned to the Safe Task Force joined that chase and had a gun drawn on them. OPEC Plus nations say they'll increase oil production. Saudi Arabia, Russia, Iraq, Kuwait, Kazakhstan, Algeria, and Oman will ramp up output to 188,000 barrels a day beginning the 1st of August. The FAA is investigating a reported fireworks strike on a Delta Airlines plane while landing at Midway Airport on the 4th of July. A man is facing DUI charges after a head-on crash killed a suburban woman and critically injured her son in Geneva. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has signed a law into effect that lawmakers say intends to increase renter protections statewide. While many say the measure is, they are drawing skepticism that the measure will provide any relief at all for tenants. It does say that all fees must be listed on the first page of a lease. The bill was the work of progressive Democrat Nabila Saeed of Palatine.
And this is simply trying to remove the ability to put additional fees that we have heavily negotiated that are just causing undue burdens on individuals that are looking for housing.
Meantime, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson has his eyes set on a fast-moving ordinance, worrying many landlords in the city of how sweeping it is. Cubs over the Cardinals 6-4. White Sox beat Cleveland 7-6. The news, a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. And we'll have a check of the roads in 2 minutes on AM 560.
What America means to him.
America to me means my father was right. Hard work wins. You get out of life what you put into it. Before you moan or groan about what someone did or said to you, go to the nearest mirror, look at it, and say, what could I have done to change the outcome? Finally, no matter how hard you work, how good you are, sooner or later, bad things are going to happen. How you deal with those bad things will tell your mother and me if we raised a man. That's America.
Don't miss The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
March 4th, 1865. The Civil War was nearing its end. The nation was exhausted, divided, and grieving. On that day, President Abraham Lincoln delivered his second inaugural address, just 700 words spoken in about 7 minutes. 41 days later, Lincoln would be assassinated. Yet the words he spoke that day still echo through history. In that brief address, Lincoln referenced God 14 times, spoke of prayer, and quoted scripture repeatedly. He reminded Americans that both sides of the conflict shared a common faith, saying both read the same Bible and pray to the same God, and each invokes his aid against the other. Lincoln understood that political division alone could not explain the nation's crisis. More than 160 years later, America still wrestles with division, truth, and our dependence on God. The question is whether we'll remember the wisdom Lincoln left behind.
Shh, here she comes. Surprise! They sent a duplicate shipment to your flower shop. Now you have to pay for 1,000 extra carnations. Also, there's a beehive outside your store, and they're super aggressive. There's thousands of them.
Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise, saving 10% or more on commercial auto insurance when you pay in full.
Also, the egg salad you just ate was expired. Gross.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Of all the wireless companies in America, only one has 5 stars in every category from Consumer Reports, and that company is Pure Talk. Coverage, support, value, data. 5 stars across the board. Plus, no service contracts and no cancellation fees. Just phenomenal U.S. customer service on a crazy fast 5G network. Dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to a 5-star American wireless company that won't let you down. Pure Talk.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance.
Team Hochberg Traffic Center time at 7:40, a service of Mattress Firm. Trouble sleeping lately? Upgrade to the great sleep you deserve. Mattress Firm's 4th of July sale. Choose from a curated selection of top brands and let their sleep experts help you narrow it down. They make sleep easy. Stony Island Feeder, an accident this morning. A semi struck the viaduct on the north end of that intersection at Stony Island northbound at 95th this morning. An accident in Lombard, North Avenue and Swift. Stop and go due to road work on Route 53. Normal construction zone backups between the Jane Addams and Kirchhoff, and delays as you travel on the Dan Ryan this morning. Disabled vehicle, left lane block, outbound between 18th and the Stevenson. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but first, a check of your morning forecast. In our Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center, partly sunny, pleasant, less humid, high 81.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. I gather in. Big doings this weekend. Taylor and Travis got hitched. And as I said before the news, nobody likes a celebrity wedding more than me. Our royalty. That's what I'm told. Now, again, I don't take the politics of a Taylor or a Travis seriously. It doesn't bother me that the carbon footprint of Taylor Swift's mega mansion and all that went into the production of the wedding at MSG is bigger than the average person's carbon footprint. That just for that day. Bigger than the average person's carbon footprint for an entire lifetime. That doesn't bother me. And that she, previously talked about climate change being a real problem, and she encouraged young people to do something about it because she was trying to find her, civic voice. She's a silly girl. It doesn't bother me. I mean, her music is not really my thing, but, you just discount this when we talk about something. We talk about all the time. It's just like Travis Kelce with the Chiefs. I have to discount the fact that he did some schlocky vax mandate spot for Pfizer. When I think about, how good a tight end he has been in the NFL over his career, you have to separate. I mean, for example, like Alicia Keys over this weekend, who's soulful, bluesy in some instances, musical stylings I do like. I mean, I see this clip and I just have to guffaw.
Did you know that it's been 100 years since the Equal Rights Amendment was first introduced? And now, still, women don't have an explicit guarantee to equal rights under the U.S. Constitution. Can you believe that? I couldn't even believe that was real.
It's not. That's why you don't believe it.
I mean, women are not asking for special rights, just equal rights.
Yeah.
Let's turn outrage into authorship. If it's the 250th celebration of the country, isn't it time to update some things? What rights or guarantees do you feel all women should have in America? It's a good question. I'm not here to speak for you. I just want to pass you the mic. So have your say at peoplesbillofrights250.org. Not red, not blue. Just you.
Yeah.
Wow. Sending you big love.
And right back at you, Alicia. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a punchline. There's no point in spending a lot of time on Alicia Keys or Taylor Swift or Travis Kelce and their politics. More interested in the relationship. No, and of course, who was there and who they wore. I guess it was Christian Dior, Haute Couture for both. The over-under on when Travis Kelce will be the subject of a Taylor Swift breakup song. 312-642-5600, alphawealthgroup.com. Call and text line. I mean, I know some of these celebrity marriages last, but it is worth noting, this from Buzz Patterson, who's a columnist over at Red State, that Travis apparently signed a 40-page prenup that includes an infidelity clause that costs him $20 million per violation. Well, and Buzz Patterson's commentary, by the way, I love summer romances. Yeah, it's really something, isn't it? $20 million per violation. Let's see, she's probably worth $1.5 billion. You have that, and then you back out 20 per violation. I mean, not that he's hurting for money. He's had a nice career in the NFL, but her money is next level generational, not bottom floor generational like Travis's. Anyway, I'm sure people were gripped by this and we're interested to see who showed up, who all the fancy friends are. The Bradley Cooper was there, apparently. Hugh Grant, Elizabeth Banks, Ethan Hawke, Jason Sudeikis, Zoe Kravitz, Emma Stone, Reese Witherspoon, Jessica Alba. Sure. I mean, it's the social event of the season. Adam Scott, Paul Rudd, Tom Hanks, Brad Pitt, Liam Hemsworth, Selena Gomez. That's her best friend, apparently. And her brother. What does her brother do? I'm just curious. Her brother, I guess, was her best dude, as opposed to having a what do they call it, maid of honor, right? Yeah. I got to say, even for people with this much cash, I still find all the pageantry of these weddings such a colossal waste of everybody's time and money. But I'm not a silly heart like Travis and Taylor and that 40-page prenup. Prenups? Thoughts on those? We probably tackled this before. I'm actually not a prenup fan, because I guess if I could allow myself to be frauded into this decision, then I deserve to pay a penalty when it goes sideways. That's how I look at it. It's the sort of accountability mechanism that's built in to bad decision making. Glenn in Orlando, you're Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, good morning, Dan. I was just thinking about Alicia Keys and what would be her opinion of men and women's sports?
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. Just like, again, I don't care that there was high security. I think a lot of NYPD too. I don't know if she's and he are footing the bill for that or whatever, but it didn't take sort of the open borders posture when it came to attendance on her special day. But again, that hypocrisy is their privilege for being our royalty, for being American royalty. I'll tell you something else that's more disturbing than all of that pageantry in a moment. Marty in Naperville.
Yeah, I wanted to let you know, Dan, you mentioned a celebrity that was there. She committed suicide. Reese, what's her name? Reese.
Committed suicide? Reese Witherspoon?
Yeah, Reese. What's her name? No, with her knife. Sorry.
Oh. Oh, my God. Yeah, a little leftover dad humor from the weekend. I hope you used that at your Taylor and Travis watch party. I fell right into that. I didn't know where you're going. Very good. Bill, Northwest Side.
Yeah, Dan, everything that Travis Kelce, all of his fame and fortune and everything he has going for himself, he owes to one person, and that person is Patrick Mahomes.
Well,
without Patrick, I don't think we would know too much about him, or he would be as famous as he is.
Well, sure. I mean, without does Patrick Mahomes make the players around him better? Of course. But Travis Kelce makes Mahomes better too. He's got a reliable receiver he's had for the last decade. I mean, that whole thing, yeah, for sure. Patrick Mahomes is a premier talent, so of course he makes the players around him better, but it doesn't take away from the fact that Kelce's numbers tell you that he's a Hall of Fame tight end. I mean, that's a thing. Text from 815, move on. I'll move on when I'm good, damn, and ready to move on. That's when I'll move on. We're talking about American royalty here. Have a little respect for Travis and Taylor and their special day. But the thing that's a little bit more concerning to me than the prenup or the glitz and glam of a celebrity wedding on that level. It's like, I mean, that is, the equivalent of our Charles and Di, isn't it? The situation among trophy wives. There's an analysis that's been done that finds the trophy wife is on the wane. A paper published in 2013 by a group of Dutch social scientists examined the Forbes 400 list of America's richest people. The authors that found that men on the list were, on average, 7 years older than their wives, compared with an age gap of just 2 or 3 years in the population as a whole. Those who had remarried on the Forbes 400 list had wives more than 22 years their junior. But now, according to The Economist, the phenomenon is disappearing. What's happening? The disappearance of the trophy wife is concerning. They looked at several years of census data from the University of Minnesota Population Center. They do good work. We filtered the sample to include only married heterosexual couples in which the husband reported an income. We sorted the couples into groups according to the husband's income from the poorest to the richest and calculated the average age gap in each group. Methodology sounds sound. In 1980, 1 in 12 husbands with an income in the top 1% was married to someone at least 10 years younger, compared to 1 in 17 among the total sample. You got to have cash to carry off the trophy wife. That's the point, right? However, things have changed. By 2024, the richest group, the top 1%, did not differ from the average. What is happening to the trophy wife? If anybody has an explanation or thought as to an explanation, please do share. This is very concerning. Although, the trophy wife, as somebody once remarked to me on a golf course, yeah, I got remarried and I married a trophy wife, but it wasn't the first place trophy. Bill Waukegan, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, man, what a great comment that was.
Yeah, it is a great comment, isn't it?
Laughing here.
Yeah. You got to make sure. You got to make sure you look at the trophy. Don't just take any old trophy. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, my trophy wife is still on my mantle, and but hey, I give the Travis. I have the wedding of our new king and queen of the United States. I give them at least 2 years before something explodes, and they're no longer the wedded bliss couple that they were meant to be. So, thanks for backing me up. You guys are the best, man.
2 years? 2 years is your over-under?
Exactly. 2 years is my over and under.
Man, that's a long time, and boy, Hollywood time. I don't know. I'd be surprised if they make it a year. But hey, maybe it'll be like a Tom and Rita thing. Tom Hanks, Rita Wilson. Maybe they'll go the distance. I don't know. Just doesn't. I don't know. The trophy husband thing too, because I know there's this idea. Oh yeah, like Liz Taylor and Lori Fertensky. That doesn't happen. In fact, nearly 8% of married men at the bottom of the income scale are at least 10 years older than their wives, compared with 5% in the middle. So this idea that lower earners could be boy toys for the yeah. I don't know. I'm not so concerned about trophy husbands. That's somebody else's problem. I'm more concerned about the trophy wife thing. Chris in Elmwood Park.
Yes, after all the hoopla and spectacle and attention they want from this wedding, it will be interesting when the marriage tanks that they ask everybody for their privacy so they can deal with it.
Yes, exactly. Please respect us. Yeah, thanks for the call. Perfect, right? But make a big public spectacle because everybody's got to look at us. But hey, please respect our privacy for goodness sakes. Oh, the paparazzi. Oh, the fans. They're so put upon. Yeah, right. Text from 847, look who officiated. Yeah, Adam Sandler officiated. And I saw some crazy stuff online, as you're wont to see if you spend too much time on social media. suggesting Taylor Swift is like a Zionist MAGA because Adam Sandler officiated the wedding. How serious is a wedding, frankly, if Adam Sandler is officiating it? That, to me, alone smacks of doom. Rick, Downers Grove.
Good morning. I know why the trophy wife thing is kind of tapering off, because it takes more than, well, these women nowadays, first off, they're obnoxious and narcissistic, and it takes more than just be able to stuff your keister in a pair of yoga pants and jump around to interest these guys.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Thanks for the call, Rick. Good perspective. In the Catholic Church, a prenuptial agreement is immediate grounds for an annulment because it demotes the sacrament of marriage to mere human terms. Yes, well, I know. Well, that's another reason why I'm not keen on prenuptial agreements. Not that I have to worry so much about that. But, yeah, good point. Thank you for that. Text from 847. Travis Kelce is one IR list away from being single again. Yeah, right. If she can't be in the box watching him play and, having, the NFL fans' attention fixated on her on Sundays too, then, right, maybe it's time for her to look for a new and improved tight end. More ways than one, if you know what I'm saying. And I think you do. Ron in Sycamore.
Yeah, hi, Dan. About 25 years ago, I had a coworker who was Greek, and she had a big, fat Greek wedding. She spared no expense on anything. Within a year, they were divorced.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Ron. I mean, I don't, even if it's great, they're a great couple, they're going to go the distance and everybody's 100%. I just spend all that money on it. It's just like, especially if they're younger, like just, take the cash equivalent and buy a house or start a business or do something productive with it. These weddings, these garish weddings are so self-indulgent. Ugh. But hey, that's just me. And again, I'm not the romantic type like Taylor and Travis. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr. Now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're a tax-paying, law-abiding lover of America and the American dream, you need to be listening to Saving the American Dream with Jim Martyr. Every Saturday at 7 p.m., Jim tackles the issues that matter most: faith, family, freedom, and the fight to protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Saving the American Dream with Jim Martyr, heard Saturday evenings at 7, right here on AM 560 The Answer. Podcasts available at 560theanswer.com.
Take the journey of living a happy, successful, and meaningful life through God. Listen to It's Time with Dan Lights, Sunday mornings at 9 on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
AM 560. The Answer.
Text from 773. Do you ever think Brad and Angelina will get back together? Gosh, I hope so. What about Brennifer? Brad and Jennifer. Oh, yes. The graveyard of failed Hollywood relationships. Coming up at, I don't know, what time is it? 7:07? 8:08? Yeah, 8:08. Jim Perry will talk dollars and cents, markets, and AI. Jim Perry at 8:08. It's now 8 o'clock on AM 560 WIN.
Will they go with the flow? I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Team USA hopes to have star striker Flo Balogun playing in their World Cup soccer match against Belgium tonight in Seattle. His suspension for stepping on an opponent's ankle in the last match is lifted after a phone call to FIFA's president from President Trump. Now there's an appeal from Belgium to have it reinstated.
Flo got the red card in the last game. That in football means an automatic one-match ban. So at that point, he was not able to play tonight. Then they reversed that decision, suspending the suspension in effect and saying, yes, he is free to play tonight. The Belgian team then lodged a protest. They said they were astonished and they were looking at all available options. And now this morning, we we hear that FIFA is giving both Belgium and U.S. soccer federations to lodge their claims as to why their view of this should be the one that FIFA follows through with.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt's in Seattle, where the match starts at 11 hours with or without Flo Balogun. The 6-day funeral procession for Iran's supreme leader, killed on the first day of U.S.-Israel airstrikes, is in the capital, Tehran, today.
Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and 4 of his family members are being mourned during the biggest day of a week of huge memorial ceremonies for the 86-year-old cleric. Mourners hurled stones at a billboard showing President Trump with a bullet aimed at his head, saying, quote, "The U.S. killed our father." Others held red placards with the English words, "Kill Trump," in black letters.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. At least 18 people are reported killed, with dozens more injured in Russian missile and drone strikes in and around Kyiv, Ukraine. Ukraine's President Zelensky is expected to meet with President Trump at the NATO summit starting tomorrow in Ankara, Turkey. And Zelensky wants more U.S. Patriot interceptors to shoot down Russian missiles. There's a shortage made worse by the military operation against Iran. America's listening to Fox News.
Blue skies and sunshine at 8:02, 69 degrees in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. A man charged in a shooting on Chicago's South Side. Officers were conducting a traffic stop on Friday in the 2000 block of East 79th when Malik Reitzel fled the scene. Retiring Police Superintendent Larry Snelling.
The officers gave a brief chase, caught up to this individual, and a struggle ensued. During this struggle, the individual reached into a shoulder bag, removed a handgun, and fired a round, striking one of our officers.
That officer was shot in the vest. The officer returned fire, hitting Reitzel. And during the struggle, a second officer was shot in the arm. Both officers are in good condition. Charges include attempted murder and aggravated battery to a police officer against the suspect. 7 are recovering after a shooting on Chicago's West Side. 2 underage teens and 4 other people were sent to the hospital with gunshot wounds. All the victims this morning are listed in good condition, and detectives are investigating. 2 early morning shootings in Gary, Indiana left a 10-year-old boy dead and several others hurt. And a man is facing DUI charges after a head-on crash killed a woman and critically injured her 26-year-old son in the western suburbs Saturday night in Geneva. Chicago sports found the Cubs salvaging their 3-game home series against the Cardinals with a 6-4 win, while the White Sox were 7-6 winners over Cleveland. Kyle Teal, Colson Montgomery, and Tristan Peters went deep. The news, a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Download the app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
There's merger news. Novartis is getting bigger. It's buying British biotech company Merix Bio. It's developing new antibody treatments for cancer. Novartis will pay $1.1 billion up front, with up to $400 million in potential additional payments. And NBC Universal parent company Comcast is also expanding. Comcast Sky unit will buy ITV's media and entertainment unit for up to $2.1 billion. The deal follows Comcast's decision to separate its media from its tech business. Crude oil prices are lower after OPEC Plus decided to increase production. Also, the continued recovery in shipping through the Strait of Hormuz is helping prices to moderate. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda. Invested in you.
Scott Jennings sees them just wanting more money.
You know, it is amusing to me that people like Ro Khanna, who spend literally trillions of your dollars every year, are now telling us that if we could just spend a few $100 billion more, all hunger, all health care, all everything could be solved.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at noon, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Croscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Croscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Croscom.
Call Croscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Croscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Croscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Croscom.
Croscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Croscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CroscomPublicAdjusters.com.
This is Carol Platt-Liebel for Townhall.com. Few issues have generated more controversy in America than whether biological males should be allowed to compete on girls' and women's school sports teams. Now, in a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court has ruled that states may protect biological females from having to compete against biological males without violating the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause or Title IX. It's important to understand what the court did and didn't decide. The ruling doesn't require states to adopt those protections. It simply says they're free to do so. That matters because the decision explicitly affirms a basic truth. Men and women are physically different. Recognizing that reality isn't discrimination. It's a legitimate basis for protecting fairness in girls' and women's sports. And it leaves those policy decisions where they belong, with the people and their elected representatives.
Our founders believed that freedom wasn't just a word, it was a way of life. The freedom to move forward, the freedom to pursue what matters most, the freedom to live fully. But pain has a way of taking those freedoms away. That's why Relief Factor exists and why I endorse it. I've seen how many in this audience have regained their freedom and they're back to living life on their own terms. Relief Factor, it's 100% drug-free. It's a research-based supplement designed to help support a healthy inflammatory response, addressing pain at its source, not just covering it up. Over 1 million Americans have found relief and reclaimed parts of their life they thought were behind them. So this year, as we celebrate 250 years of freedom, ask yourself a simple question. Are you living with the freedom you deserve? Relief Factor. They give you the opportunity to live pain-free and to get back to the life you love. To commemorate our country's birth, they are offering a special patriotic price, just $17.76. So you can celebrate your freedom from pain. Your $17.76 3-week quick start is ready for you right now. ReliefFactor.com, 800-4-RELIEF. 800, the number 4-RELIEF.
808 Team Hawkbird Traffic Center time. Sorry, friends, on the Bishop Ford outbound. Shut down and remain so because of flooding and the after effects of weekend flooding outbound between 130th and Sibley. There's a detour posted. They'll help you out. Bishop Ford inbound. The right lane is blocked with ongoing high standing water between Dalton and 130th. Traffic signals are out in Waukegan this morning. Oak Plain and McGaw. Villa Park. Accident north and Villa. Lombard an accident north and Swift Road. Traffic, a service of Fox Valley Coins. Currently buying all gold and silver bars, coins, silver dollars, rare date proof, and mint sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but first, a check of your morning forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today will bring partly sunny skies, pleasant conditions, and lower humidity with a high of 80. Tonight will be clear with a low of 63. Tomorrow is expected to be mostly sunny with a high of 86. Looking ahead to Wednesday, we can anticipate mostly sunny skies and a high of 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here with our friend Jim Perry. I want to start local for a minute because he's a Chicago guy too, even though his outlook is global. And the story out last week that Do It Best is relocating True Value's headquarters from Chicago to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Do It Best Group acquired True Value out of Chapter 11 2 years ago, and now they're pulling True Value out of Chicago and consolidating everything in Fort Wayne. The CEO of Do It Best just saying it's a teams-based environment, proximity, the ability to have people together for a critical decision-making body. It's really necessary in our space to do it that way, and it just works better. Well, ostensibly you could consolidate operations in Chicago, but they don't want to do that. And this comes upon announcements of Morton Salt going to Missouri and John Deere completing a 1.2 million square foot manufacturing facility in Crown Point, and other companies that have one foot out the door, like State Farm down in Bloomington, companies that are going to go, everything I understand, like WeatherTech, which would be a big loss to Bolingbrook and the jobs that WeatherTech provides in that area, in Will County area. And it's just going to keep going. And the response, I saw this report about True Value being moved to the Do It Best HQ in Fort Wayne. And the response is, Senate Republicans are proposing a legacy tax credit to try to, move something to the governor's desk that would encourage long-standing companies, like the Bears, to stay. I mean, really? Republicans are just so inept. That is such small ball. You think that's the problem? How about this? You should tell companies, you should be honest. Try that. Just try for once. You should leave unless we can do big things, because we know all you have to do is have a conversation with some of these CEOs or founders. We know that it's a structural problem, and a temporary tax credit, or even a tax credit that you could extend out on the margins, doesn't solve the fundamental structural problems with locating, much less expanding, a business in Illinois. So how about going big as opposed to telling people on the Titanic, look, if you don't use one of those lifeboats, we'll give you an extra night in your stateroom for free. You're sort of missing the point. You're not responding to the exigency of the matter, For goodness sakes. Pathetic. Think big ideas, and go promote them. Put a marker down and go sell it. Provide contrast, not backroom deals with these neo-Bolsheviks in charge of this state that are driving business and people away. If this is how it's going to be, what you should say, Republicans, if this is how it's going to be, if this is how you're going to choose, if this is the leadership you're going to choose, then leave. Anybody who can should. That's my honest to good advice for your economic future. If that's the choice we're going to make again and again, the people you see in office now in the city, in the county, in the state, if that's what we're going to stick with, then get the hell out of here for your own good. Don't say we didn't warn you. How about that for a conversation starter? For more on this and other macroeconomic matters, James Perry, founder, CIO of Perry International Capital Partners, joins us. Jim, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning.
Morning. So when you talk to, people in and around Chicago, including CEOs and hedge fund guys and, all the financial services people that you talk to, either that are here or were here, have an opinion about here, what do they say?
The business owners in the city of Chicago, and I'm talking about guys I know who are working in the executive suite, are actively pursuing alternative headquarters and production facilities outside of the state. And the reason for it is the trend in democratic socialism, which is a nice way of saying communism or Bolshevism, is on the rise. And it's on the rise in the big cities, New York, Chicago, San Francisco, Seattle, places like this. And it's anathema to free market capitalism. They think state control is a better deal because they have more power. And I think that rightly, any company that is a public company that has the value of its shareholders at the top of the heap have a responsibility to not decrease profit margins, but to increase profit margins by escaping from a tax regime which is negative for the company's growth.
The New York State tenant bloc, which was headed by C. Weaver until she joined the Mamdani administration in January to take the outside agitation inside the city government. If the landlords can't maintain their buildings, tenants will. The mayor's housing plan directs $2.2 billion to take housing off their hands, relieve them of their housing. Tenants are organized to defend our communities and reclaim our homes. I mean, you've got, because they're institutionalized, you got $2 billion that they're going to use to basically seize property from landlords in New York City. And if that doesn't send a chill, not just to private property owners, but to the business community too. I mean, if they're going to come for landlords, you don't think they're going to come for you? If they're going to pillory Ken Griffin or Jamie Dimon, you don't think they're going to come for you on Wall Street?
Yeah, they're coming, and it's very trendy, and it's probably, we haven't seen peak insanity yet. Wait till November.
Right. And in terms of like the rise of, neo-Bolshevikism, so when the response from the alleged opposition party, whether it's in New York or Illinois, is something as tepid as, we'll try to, move this tax credit on the margins, you got to be thinking and talking structural. You're up against an enemy that is operating at the structural level. So that's where you have to operate, the structural level. We're going to propose to completely it's a sort of a common sense counter revolution to these Bolshevik revolutionaries. And that means we're going to forget, returning the state income tax to where it was pre-Ronner. We're going to zero out the state income tax. We're going to reduce the corporate. We're going to do what DeSantis is doing in Florida and propose a ballot initiative. The first $250,000 of your assessed valuation on your home is property tax free. We're going to do big things because that's what's required to send a big message to businesses and residents alike, productive people, that this is a place that you want to be.
That's right. It's not happening because the leadership in this city and this state don't want it to happen. It's as simple as that.
And meanwhile, I mean, not just what's going, but the opportunities that are being missed, the opportunity costs that, you can't measure, so you don't know what you're missing. But I mean, we do know that we're missing a revolution, a positive revolution. I'm talking about technological AI. This is what Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, the world's most profitable, the world's richest company, essentially the highest market cap in the world, $5 trillion company. This is what he had to say about what's happening.
Well, let's use one example. I grew up in a generation where we didn't have calculators. I don't remember the last time I did long division. We don't have to do algebra anymore. We don't do surface integrals. We don't do calculus. All of those things are now done by computers. Somehow, everything that I grew up learning is now replaced by computers, and I still find myself insanely busy and working as hard as ever. The purpose of jobs have not fundamentally changed. The purpose of a doctor has not changed. It's to help diagnose disease, bring wellness. The tools they use to do that job will be different.
So I think what you're describing is creative destruction. At the advent of the car, we could not have imagined what the next job would be for the buggy whip maker. He would have looked at a bleak future. He perhaps found some other job, a new job that we couldn't yet envision. You, if anyone, can envision what the next 5, 10, 15 years looks like. So what skills will be valuable to humans?
Well, one of the things that in the next 10 or 15 years, we're going to be building a lot of infrastructure. The first thing that's happened is because of AI, the number of new chip plants and computer plants and data center plants that are being created around the country has just grown tremendously. Electricians, construction, welders, technicians, networking engineers, all of these jobs are now in huge demand. We've created about 500,000 of them. We're probably going to create a lot more. The reindustrialization of the United States is going to change the shape of culture. We're going to have a lot more construction workers, a lot more builders and makers, which is fantastic.
And there's actually, Jim, just to follow up on Jensen there's a new paper out by a couple of, eggheads that work at Econ Labs that they looked at 21,000 businesses to measure workforce data, 21,000 U.S. businesses to measure AI's impact on jobs. And they found that firms that adopt AI heavily grow headcount 10% over 2 years following adoption, while low adopters see no statistically significant change. You're growing headcount because your business is growing and you're trying to keep up. Now, that may not be forever, but at least in the short term, the idea of, all white-collar jobs being eliminated in the next 24 months seems unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, this is a central tenet to the industrial revolution, which we're undergoing right now. And it's funny, you talk to economists, and they're all bearish. But then if you talk to the founders, they're as enthusiastic as possible. And the trouble is that the narrative around this industrial revolution, which we're in the midst of, it's a lot of noise and it's a lot of fear, and it's not a lot of facts. And I think if you really just look at the facts, you can see that the economy is doing very, very well. The labor situation in the States has never been better, and corporate profitability continues to surprise on the upside, And the broadening market, stock market, is really the best sign that says that, the AI industrial revolution isn't just Jensen Huang and his ilk. It's really, industrial companies as well. I think I was looking at some statistics I thought we were going to be speaking last week. But, last week there was a ton of information that came out that's all kind of under the surface. And the bottom line is that, durable goods orders and job openings and fewer people getting laid off and all this other stuff, every single number is up. Industrial production was up 10% in the first quarter. We haven't had an industrial production number like that in decades, I don't think, So the naysayers about what the economies are doing, it's a little bit tiresome. And the trouble is you see it and read it all the time. And our job, as investors and people that explain the investment part of our lives to your listeners is get to the facts, tell the truth, and let the numbers speak for themselves. And if you do that, you'll see that the economy is expanding. Employment is growing. Home prices, although not equally up all over the country, are still doing very well. And again, I always go back to the same thing because we talk about employment a lot, Dan. But, the labor force in this country has never been larger and has never been more profitable. Their earnings are up higher than they've ever been before. And that's with a loss of something like 350,000 government jobs, which, is a really good thing. So I think we're on the right track here, despite all the naysayers.
Is there anything that does particularly concern you that you're watching closely, because it could be an indicator of choppier waters?
Yeah, I always worry about things. That's what bond traders do. We're skeptics, and we always want to be proven to. I think one of the things that I've been spending a lot of time with recently is this whole idea of tokenization and the ability to run large language models and the amount of capacity that's available to do that. And there's a great chart. It's called the Silicon Data Token Expenditures chart, right? And this, you get used to hearing that. You're going to hear it a lot more. And it basically indicates how much enterprises are willing to pay by tokens, right? A token is sort of like 1 million operations, what they're willing to pay for compute. And the trouble with that is it's been peaking. It's been peaking since it started, 2.5, 3 years ago. Peaked in May, and now compute prices are starting to go down. And people are saying, well, that's the end of the AI revolution. We've got construction and data centers has clearly peaked, and people aren't going to pay for this anymore. And one of these guys is Andrew Feldman, is a CEO of a company called Cerebus, which went public in May. And he was saying that, just do the math. There's 47 million programmers out there, and they're all spending $100,000 on tokens. Do the math. That's a GDP that's going to go up 50% a year for 10 years, and our company's going to be in the middle of it, which is very flimsy math. And I think the problem is that, once prices go up, markets tend to figure out how to get things cheaper. And there may be 47 million programmers out there, but very few of them have a budget that's going to allow them to spend, $100,000 on tokens. It's going to be more like $1,000 on tokens. So the price of compute is going down, and some people would argue that that's a negative for companies like NVIDIA. But really, if you think about Devon's paradox, pricing of compute really is down about 90% since the beginning of the ChatGPT era. But it's up 25% in the last year, and that's, of course, peak. So I think you have to really be careful about how efficient the AI build-out is and how quickly or slowly return on investment can be expected by investors. Make sense?
Yeah, but I mean, the idea that we're at peak AI with respect to the infrastructure piece of it, I mean, how many data centers are online as compared to those in pre-planning?
Right. The numbers are a little bit sketchy, and you have to be a little bit tricky with it because sometimes people have small data centers. But I guess if you just kind of broadly think about it for sort of a 20-second conversation, there's something like 5,000 data centers in the country. And I think the number of data centers that are in the planning stages are 3/4 or 3 times more than the ones that are actually operational.
Right.
So the idea that we're at peak construction in data centers comes from, community organizers that scream about having a buzzing factory around the street, around the corner from their house, even though they're 3 blocks from the interstate and they can hear cars going by all the time. So, again, that whole narrative is a little bit sort of, you just hear these things and you just kind of go, what is wrong with you? But the point is, data centers can't go everywhere, right? And they're not going to go in suburban Chicago, right? That's going to be harder, especially in Cook County. But I read something a long time ago that said that the actual amount of developed land in the United States is actually, I mean, that's something with at least a parking lot on it, right? Is 3%, right? So this is a really big country, and there's a lot of places out there that have access to cheap energy and cheap water and land and can be used to build data centers, and it's all going to work out just fine. It's just going to take a little bit longer because we've got guys like Pritzker who says, not in my backyard,
Yeah, because I'm running for president. The distribution of your portfolio at present to indicate where you think things are going, particularly in the equity markets?
Yeah, that's right. Always. I put my portfolio on my weekly report every day, and if you know what I own, you know what I think, right? And I'm heavily weighted into the stock market. We've had something like 23 or 24 and NASDAQ 26 all-time highs so far this year. I expect that will continue to happen in the second half of the year. The Industrial Revolution and GDP in general is clearly being driven by the AI supercycle. And I think we're in the early stages of it, Dan. I think we're in kind of, the second inning or something like that. So I really believe it's going to get a lot better. I think it's going to increase productivity, and I also think it's going to increase jobs. So all the naysayers about destructions of jobs have been proven completely incorrect over the last year. The economists are still saying it's going to be a nightmare. But, you talk to the founders. Oh, and again, here it is. We talked about this last time I was on. This whole idea of these opinions and polls about how things are going. If you look at the employment report, 30% of Democrats believe that AI is going to be terribly destructive and terribly bad for the economy, or good. And the numbers of Republicans, the number of Democrats that look favorably upon this are down to 30%, where Republicans are at sort of 50%, and founders of companies, the guys that are doing it, are at like 80%. So listen to the guys that are doing things, not the people that are sitting there on a soapbox talking about things and narrating the way they want some sort of socialist utopia to be. It doesn't work that way. And, I talk about being a bond investor all the time, but, the bond market doesn't care about narratives. It cares about getting paid back, right? And nobody in government thinks that way. So the bottom line is the AI revolution is here and it's real. The industrial side of the economy is doing well. We're overweight that. The technology sector is driving everything. And you have to have a certain little sort of position in the industrial side of the economy. And then, of course, on the retail sales side, we do have an economy where if you're an owner of a house or a portfolio, you're pretty happy. And if you don't, you're kind of in trouble because you're not keeping up with inflation, which has spiked up because of this mess over in the Middle East. But by and large, I think corporate earnings are going to start coming next week. I don't know if you've seen the forecast on it, but, the S&P 500 in terms of earnings, they're supposed to be up over 20% again for the second quarter in a row, which has not happened for a long, long time. And profit margins are running at 15%. So the stock market, is it expensive? You bet. Is it more valuable than it was last year? Yes. Will it be more valuable next year? Of course it will. And the reason for it is the valuations, price earnings multiples are actually shrinking. And some people look at that negatively, but I just say earnings are going up faster than prices in about 3/4 of the S&P 500. So if earnings drive equity prices, then investors should be confident and comfortable that despite some sort of wild dislocation and momentum changes and sector flipping around here and there, software goes down, semiconductors go up. That happens all the time. Meta is down now and Apple's up now. Well, a year ago it was the opposite way. So nothing moves in a straight line. The bottom line is that the U.S. economy is doing well. I just saw last night that the BIS said that the global economy forecast for growth is over 3% for the year, and it was down to 1%, as recently as March 1st. So I think don't get too fussed about the narrative that you hear on TV because it's negative, and look at the data and the facts and the truth and recognize that the U.S. economy is growing. It's the most innovative and creative and strongest economy in the world. Money is flowing into this country. The dollar is very firm, especially against its two major crosses, the yen and the euro. And emerging market currencies are falling too. So money's flowing into the country. Money's flowing into the U.S. stock market. And investors are being rewarded because earnings are rising faster than costs. So I think, you know what I'm saying. That's pretty basic.
James Perry, appreciate the summation. James Perry, founder, CIO, Perry International Capital Partners. Very thorough as always. Jim, thank you very much.
You bet, Dan. Thanks. Have a good week.
You too. And he joined us on the alphawealthgroup.com answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
It's news, opinion, and insight at the speed of your life. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
8:35, 70 degrees and sunshine in the QC Kinetics newsroom. A man charged in a shooting on Chicago's South Side involving Chicago police. Officers were conducting a traffic stop Friday in the 2000 block of East 79th when Malik Wrightsell fled the scene. Police Superintendent Larry Snelling picks up the story.
The officers gave a brief chase, caught up to this individual, and a struggle ensued. During this struggle, the individual reached into a shoulder bag, removed a handgun, and fired a round, striking one of our officers.
Wrightsell shot one officer in the vest. The officer returned fire, hitting Wrightsell, and during the struggle, a second officer was shot in the arm. Both this morning are in good condition. 7 recovering after a shooting on the west side. Hundreds gathered in the 3800 block of West Maypole, drinking and disrupting the neighborhood before gunfire rang out.
Not truly understanding or knowing or caring about the consequences of what happens. To get 7 people shot at an incident like that, is reprehensible. And I think we ought to hold people that put these events on accountable.
28th Ward Alderman Jason Irvin, 2 underage teens and 4 others were sent to the hospital. A man is dead in Memphis, shot by 2 National Guard members assigned to the Memphis Safe Task Force. It all happened early Sunday morning downtown in Tennessee City, where local police were in pursuit of an armed suspect when the National Guard soldiers assigned to the task force joined that chase. The FAA investigating a reported fireworks strike on a Delta Airlines plane landing at Midway Airport on the 4th of July. Illinois State Police are investigating a deadly shooting on July 4 in Ottawa. LaSalle County deputies attempted to stop a vehicle belonging to a person with a known active arrest warrant. The driver fled, pulling into a driveway in Ottawa. The driver, Jacob Williamson, got out of a vehicle with a firearm and took shots at deputies. The deputies only then returned fire. Williamson was pronounced dead on the scene. Cubs over the Cardinals 6-4, White Sox 7-6 winners over Cleveland. World Cup soccer, Spain and Portugal, the U.S. and Belgium from Seattle. The news service of Goldilocks offering Chicagoland state-of-the-art smart security systems to protect your home or business. AM 560 listeners, 3 months of monitoring free with new installs. Get peace of mind. Call Goldilocks, 708-889-5600. A check of the roads in 2 minutes on AM 560.
Hugh Hewitt says we're in a propaganda war.
Iran continues to do an alternative universe narrative. The president does push back all the time against the Iranian propaganda, but legacy media is in a hurry to peddle their narrative, which is they've won and they're winning and everything is fine. And we don't have any pictures or anything out of Iran because they've throttled the internet.
The Hugh Hewitt Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Alex Marlowe at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Picture warm Gulf breezes, turquoise waters, white sand beaches. Now, add evenings of conversation with Salem Media's Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, and Jennifer Horn. This November, sail from Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and Mexico on a 7-day journey built for those who love this country. Book your cabin today when you text the word cruise to 94878. Celebrate America's 250th anniversary the right way on the Gulf of America Cruise. Book your cabin now. Text the word cruise to 94878.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. and you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything: design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com, to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
With things moving fast to resolve the situation in the Middle East, the headlines may change, but the fundamentals haven't. America's debt continues to climb, and uncertainty still hangs over the global economy. That's why investors continue turning to one asset that has stood the test of time: physical gold and silver. For generations, gold has been viewed as a safe haven asset during periods of geopolitical tension and market volatility. That's why Advantage Gold wants to send you a free gold investment guide valued at $49, plus a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's acclaimed book, Our Dollar, Your Problem, when you call 800-900-8000. Discover why central banks are buying gold, why many Americans are diversifying with precious metals, and how a tax and penalty-free rollover into physical gold and silver may fit into your retirement strategy. Don't wait until the next crisis dominates the headlines. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000 right now. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Saving the American Dream with Jim Martyr, Faith, Family, Freedom, this Saturday evening at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
8:42, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably, well, they're saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. Outbound Kennedy, accident, 2 center lanes blocked, outbound between the Circle and the Hubbard Street Tunnel. Bishop Ford remains shut down on the outbound side due to high standing water from weekend flooding between 130th and Sibley. An investigation continues into an accident in Elmhurst, St. Charles, and Kenilworth. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but first, check of your morning forecast in our Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center. Partly sunny, pleasant, less humid, a high of 81.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here, and U.S. Attorney for the Northern District, Andrew Boutros. Boy, there's a guy who's been needing a win for some time. Been a little bit of a messy tenure, to say the least. But late last week, big announcement about the impact of Operation New Dawn, which was an a multi-jurisdictional, 11 federal agencies coordinated by federal prosecutors going after individuals suspected of offenses like murder, robbery, kidnapping, drug trafficking, child exploitation. This began around May 1. I thought crime was down. Why do we need this coordinated Fed response? Anyway, this was the announcement.
Hi, Aisha. A new dawn for fighting crime. That is how the U.S. Attorney here is describing this new anti-violence federal push, and he says what he's doing is unprecedented.
To our knowledge, this has never been done before in the Northern District of Illinois. And making the operation badgeless created shared accountability and unified mission-minded anti-violence work starting in the spring and continuing into the summer.
Officials say within the last 60 days or so, 179 people have been charged in 140 newly filed cases. U.S. Attorney Andrew Boutros calling this operation, quote, badgeless because it required the work of multiple different agencies, including HSI, FBI, DEA, and ATF.
305 fugitives apprehended, 24 abducted children located and reunited with their families. And Boutros offered this additional commentary on the Cook County judicial system, That's the need and desire to level these criminals up to the federal system.
We've got a problem with the Cook County judges. And more of you need to start reporting on that. Because what you see are people who are violent offenders, repeat violent offenders, that the Cook County judges decide to release on pretrial condition.
Yeah. Or they get light sentences, like the guy who served time for a CTA hammer attack, who was charged over the weekend with another robbery on the Red Line, one of those murder trains that we feature in Chicago. Yeah, how's Charles Beach doing? New guy, another new guy, same as the old guy sort of situation. For more on the topic and other law and order related matters, John Garrido joins us, former Chicago Police Lieutenant in the 16th District and president of the Garrido Stray Rescue Foundation. GarridoStrayRescue.org is his animal shelter. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan.
So Operation New Dawn, I mean, this isn't the first time that the feds have come in over the top, either working with the locals or working parallel to them. So do you read anything in particular into Operation New Dawn now that it has been unveiled?
Well, I think it just shows that our Illinois justice system has been nothing but a systemic failure. And a lot of people will like to point just to the Safety Act, so the legislature. Now, our legislature here in Illinois for decades has been doing everything but keeping our community safe, whether it's the concurrent sentencing of violent criminals or only allowing them to have to serve, giving them good time credit so they have to serve 50% of their time, or any of that stuff, and like the Safety Act. But then you've got judges that either are completely incompetent and have no business being on the bench, or that just are so weak-minded that they just feel like these offenders, they deserve a not just a second chance, but a 15th chance, a 20th chance. And then we used to have Kim Foxx, which was the triple threat of then the state attorney's office that was really more of a defense office or more of a defendant's office. They did nothing. And she set the bar so low that all you had to do is show up to work now and do a great job. Now, Eileen Burke, I'm glad she's there and she's doing a good job, but she definitely needs to do more.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like there has been a paradigm shift. I mean, maybe it's there's been improvements on the margins, but it really depends on which Class X category of crime you're looking at. I mean, it seems to me like with Beach and the problems with electronic monitoring, with the decisions being made by judges, both, across the board, as you just described, not limited to, but including the Safety Act. I mean, and by the way, Eileen Burke made a pronouncement that she supports the Safety Act. So that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence that there's a paradigm shift happening here, which is apparently what's required, seems to me.
Right. Like I said, I mean, she needs to do it definitely a lot more. She's definitely done some good stuff while she's there, but she definitely needs to do it more. But I think it still circles back to the judges. We do have laws on the books that allow them to even sidestep the Safety Act to a certain extent, yet they refuse to, or they'll just default to, because of the Safety Act, I have to do this, when they're actually interpreting the law wrong. They can still, at detention hearings, they can still detain people. They can still, for sentencing, they don't have to give concurrent sentences. They can give consecutive sentences. They actually keep people in jail longer. There's also, the legislature can go in and change, well, they're not going to change anything, but they should change so we have more crimes that we have to serve 85 to 100% truth in sentencing, but they just refuse to do it. But going back to the judges, these judges need to step up. We had the Thomas Martell case. This guy was microwaving 8-week-old kittens, and Judge Sucker-Dermer offered him a 4.5-year sentence. Judge Cantor honored that 4.5-year sentence, and because he was on electronic monitoring for 3 years, he literally walked in and out of jail in 1 day. So now this monster is out on the street because, again, our system let him walk away with only pleading out to one kitten and only having to serve 4.5 years. He got 2 sentences, but they were served concurrently, so he's done.
And we should mention that John Garrido is also an attorney, so he's familiar with the law in addition to his familiarization through being a police officer. The impact of Chief Snelling's announcement that he's retiring effective July 15th. How did you react to that news when it came over the transom last week?
Well, I mean, being a superintendent is definitely a tough job. You're essentially, you've got the mayor's thumb on you at all times, and depending on who the mayor is can determine how tough that job is. And I can only imagine working under Brandon Johnson, it has to be almost impossible. So there's no doubt that there are some people there are a lot of officers out there that will say that, Snelling improved morale and whatnot, but you can only do so much as a superintendent based on who the mayor is. So more importantly is who's next? Who's Johnson going to put in next?
Yeah,
and
which social worker?
Because exactly. So going forward, that's really the big question. I mean, I wish Snelling well, but the big question is who's up next.
And cops shot over the weekend, and then the mass shooting on the west side. When cops were on scene, didn't seem to dissuade anybody. But the initial thing, the cops shot some guys in a makeshift go-kart, and menacing the neighborhood. Cops try to pull them over, and it turns into a firefight. I mean, that's just sort of like sign of the time. I mean, thankfully the two officers were okay, but that's just sign of the times. I mean, even something as absurd as that turns into a firefight.
Right. Well, that goes back to something we've just talked about over and over and over, is the lack of accountability. And it's getting to the point now where a new generation has never experienced accountability, and so now they have no problem raising a weapon up on officers, or they have no problem when they have these team takeovers. You could put 10,000 police officers down there, and unless they're actually going to be locking anybody up or dragging them in for curfew, they don't care. They're going to still be jumping up on top of buses and twerking in the street and breaking things and doing whatever they want to do because they know there's no accountability. Nothing's going to happen to them.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some of that over the weekend in other cities, too, with the same sort of general level of disrespect and lack of fear of police. North Charleston, I don't know if you saw that teen takeover. It was a melee where you had a bunch of young people attacking police officers, punching, kicking. This was 3-4 officers. Female officer got whacked around pretty good. In New York, there were pictures of again, young people, teen takeover type situation, spraying and throwing water on police and stuff like that. Obviously, that was not as violent. But the North Charleston thing is it's one of those things where people of a certain age, you can't even contemplate that you and your friends would attempt something like that with police back when we were growing up.
Yeah, well, that's the TikTok effect, right? They are just they see what's happening in other cities, so they're all learning that, hey, let's push the envelope, let's see what we can do, let's see what we can get away with, and they're all trying to top each other to see how defiant they can be with the police. And sadly, in many of these cities, these mayors will not allow their police departments to take action and to do something about it. Or here, they won't even hold parents accountable. Our aldermen. They voted down an ordinance to actually hold parents accountable for allowing these teens out there. These politicians just don't have the stomach to do anything.
Do you see any politician that has entered the mayor's race for next year or is threatening to that fits that bill, or is making is offering some of the right statements? I guess the bar so low.
Well, yes, I do. But before I even get to that, is the problem that we have here is too many people jumping in the race. They're going to split the vote. I mean, you can go down the list between Quigley, Alexi Giannoulias, Pappas, Mendoza. I mean, you've got so many people in. I'm afraid that they're going to split the vote. They're going to end up pushing into another runoff. I don't think Johnson's going to make the runoff. And then we could actually possibly, if you can believe it, get somebody worse than Johnson, because every time in a runoff, people stay home and they don't vote. Last time, 1 million people did not vote in the runoff. But of the crew that's out there right now, I do like Susana Mendoza. She comes from a police family. I worked with her brother. She definitely, I believe that she definitely would step up and do the job.
John Garrido, former Chicago Police Lieutenant, 16th District, president of the Garrido Stray Rescue Foundation as well. If you are in need or desire for a furry friend, GarridoStrayRescue.org, GarridoStrayRescue.org. John, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
And John joined us on the AlphaWealthGroup.com answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The following contains a celebrity impersonation.
Mr. President, we're seeing reporting that air conditioning systems are failing as temperatures rise. What is your response?
I said, don't wait. People wait until the last second, then suddenly it's hot and nothing works. I understand this stuff probably better than anybody.
Mr. President, why hasn't the White House issued any guidance?
I gave perfect guidance. Call Air Right Heating and Cooling. That's the guidance. If people followed it, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Sir, but homeowners have so many HVAC options.
They're not like Air Right. You got some bad installers out there, some real bad hombres. I wouldn't let them near the White House. It would be a complete disaster.
Mr. President, there are reports of significant rebates on new systems. Can you confirm?
I've heard about them. A lot of people talking about them. If you miss out, you'd have to be really not so smart. Tremendous savings, let me tell you.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling at AIR-RITE.com. Air Right. Doing it right since 1959.
If you're over 65 and struggling with knee pain, Joint Relief Institute offers a guaranteed way to treat it. It's non-surgical and often covered by Medicare and private insurance. It's JRI's Joint Arthritis Treatment, knee lubrication placement that's so accurate, it's 100% guaranteed and can relieve your knee and shoulder pain in 10 minutes or less. Book your risk-free consultation today and get back to walking, golfing, pickleball to cycling without pain or medication. Call 708-315-6800. Meet the provider, get an x-ray and joint consultation. Why wait? JRI has treated over 30,000 Chicagoans and performed over 400,000 procedures. You could be next. Over 5,000 five-star Google reviews can't be wrong.
Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800 for the Joint Relief Institute. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
March 4th, 1865. The Civil War was nearing its end. The nation was exhausted, divided, and grieving. On that day, President Abraham Lincoln delivered his second inaugural address, just 700 words spoken in about 7 minutes. 41 days later, Lincoln would be assassinated. Yet the words he spoke that day still echo through history. In that brief address, Lincoln referenced God 14 times, spoke of prayer, and quoted scripture repeatedly. He reminded Americans that both sides of the conflict shared a common faith, saying both read the same Bible and pray to the same God, and each invokes his aid against the other. Lincoln understood that political division alone could not explain the nation's crisis. More than 160 years later, America still wrestles with division, truth, and our dependence on God. The question is whether we'll remember the wisdom Lincoln left behind.
Your home or business has storm damage and you have an insurance claim.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters. Today, insurance companies are notorious for offering way too little money to repair damage to your home or commercial building due to wind, hail, tornado, floods, or fire. Crosscom works for you, not the insurance company. As licensed adjusters, Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. After they get you the fair insurance company result, Crosscom can start doing your repairs. Crosscom is a full construction and restoration company that will get your property back to its pre-loss condition, getting your life back to normal. Roof, siding, windows, doors, fire restoration, Crosscom does it all.
Call Crosscom.
Licensed in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin.
This is Dan Leitz with Crosscom. We share your conservative and Christian values. Let us handle everything. It all starts with a call.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, thanks for joining us on the post 74250 installment of Chicago's Morning Answer. I guess, good luck Team USA today, even though I don't recognize soccer as a sport. Back tomorrow with more wit and wisdom, your calls and comments as well. It is now 9 o'clock on AM 560, WIND Chicago.
A new high for the Dow. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The Dow hits 53,000 for the first time.
Ring the bell, Mr. President.
After President Trump in the Oval Office rings the opening bell to start the trading day on Wall Street to celebrate the Treasury Department's launch of Trump Accounts. July 4th, investment accounts for children.
We're giving this money to children so they can have a good life.
They're for kids born between 2005 and 2025 and 2028, started with $1,000 from the federal government, then up to $5,000 a year in other contributions after that to age 18. Fox confirms that President Trump called soccer's governing body FIFA's president to intervene, and an automatic ban for Team USA's top scorer for tonight's match against Belgium is overturned on review. But now the Belgians are appealing that decision. Phil Balogun was ejected during the last match after stepping on an opponent's ankle.
After receiving the red card, Balogun was supposed to miss Monday night's game. The Belgian Soccer Federation is, quote, astonished by FIFA's decision to suspend the ban, citing Article 27 of its disciplinary code. They continued, it's in, quote, direct contradiction of the competition regulations. Jay Berman, Fox News.
Prosecutors in Utah today start presenting evidence against Tyler Robinson. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk's accused